4, 3, 2.
We're good.
Not on my side. It still says scheduled.
Does it? No, we're good. We're live.
You sure?
100%.
There we go. Now I see it. You are live. What's up, people? How you doing? It's your boy, John Darko Chapman, and I'm here with my partner and host and co-constituent, Mr.
Graphite, Robert Waters. How's everything going, man? Doing all right?
What's up, y'all?
Welcome to the pit. Happy to have you guys here for another episode. We got a great episode going on for today. Anything new happening this week for you guys? Uh-oh, who's that?
Yeah, man. So, just what's been going on with you? What's up with you this week?
Not too much, man. There's some lifestyle shoots. I have a dope company that's in our city. Works with a lot of new businesses and startups and stuff like that. And they help people get going. The name of the business is Catapult, but I got to do some lifestyle stuff for their CEO. So it was really nice. She does a lot of cool stuff. Yeah, and then some new equipment, man. It's new headphones, you know. Yeah, man, these headphones are dope, man. These cups, these ear cups, they're supposed to be real cool on your ears, so you don't get hot over time. So it's kind of nice.
Well, I feel you, man. For me, current events, just hustling, man. I'm right now. I'm just editing, man. Just wrapping up projects.
Yeah.
Got stuff scheduled later down the road, commercials and some other stuff. But for right now, just editing, getting some things done. Just bought a house.
Nice. Oh, did you finish it?
For the most part. I mean, there's still some more stuff that's got to get done. Another inspection thing has to happen now.
That's what's up.
But it's all coming together.
Yeah. Huh? You got an expected move-in date, or?
I'm technically already in it.
Oh yeah. That's what's up.
Yeah.
So have you physically moved in, or is it just like you own it? You got the keys.
I only got the keys. And then it's another property that I'm probably picking up right now.
Nice.
So yeah, man. So just working basically. Trying to think, is there anything else like current events of me anyway?
I think they announced the Canon R1. They started giving specs for that. That's coming out soon.
Their flagship.
Yeah, yep. So that's coming out soon.
Everybody's got a 1 now, right? Sony's got what? Doesn't they have one? Don't they have one?
Is it the A1? Is it the A1?
It's the A1, the R1, and then I guess Nikon's the Z9, right?
Yeah, Z9's their flagship boy.
Man.
Nikon's really coming along, man. People are starting to like what Nikon's doing a lot more. Like they kind of puttered in. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they puttered in and they're catching up and they're doing good now. So it's interesting to see
what's going on, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So besides that, just hustling, doing the thing, man. Trying to think. Current affairs is all entertainment and stuff. Well, besides actors losing their minds. Ezra Miller.
What happened with
fired on a movie he ain't even finished?
Are you serious?
Yeah, you ain't see that?
So
he basically was living with like a couple or camping out with some crazy stuff in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
And he just went on like a crazy rampage and like threatened them, and then like went to like some bar and threatened people and all this crazy stuff and got arrested and like all this other weird stuff. And then basically WB, like this wasn't the first time, because he did something else where he like slammed the girl and it was like on social media.
Are you serious?
So yeah, so Warner Brothers was like, all right, bro, you
gotta go.
And he basically got fired from the Flash. So that happened. Everybody's like rooting for Grant Gustin, the TV show version, to play the part.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I doubt it, because they don't want to. I'm sure they don't want the crossover, but that'd be dope.
Yeah, well, Will and Jada.
I don't think they just won't go away now. Like I'm just like, geez, man.
Oh
my gosh, this story just keeps on giving.
I swear. Besides that, there's not a whole lot going on. I mean, there's some movies, there's not a lot of music going on. Oh, well, I guess the one thing is Red Hot Chili Peppers just dropped the album. I'm a huge Red Hot Chili Pepper fan, so Listen to that.
That's what's up.
That's about it on the music side, movie side. The
What
Viking.
more?
What is that called? What's that movie coming out? It's a Viking movie, but it looks really good actually. Yeah, what's the name of it? It's not like Valhalla or something like that. It's called. I can't
search for that one. Yeah,
but everybody's saying it's going to be really good.
Morbius came out just recently, didn't it?
It actually did okay in the box office, though everybody says it sucks.
Like I've gotten to the point where I just don't trust people. Yeah, like
but it actually did okay. Like it's making money.
Hey, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and like apparently they lied, and nothing of Spider-Man is actually in the movie or anything like that. What else? What else? There was one thing else. Moon Knight started.
Yeah, I've been hearing good things.
I always liked Moon Knight. Moon Knight I always liked him as a character. I always liked the costume.
Yeah, he's dope. Like I don't know much about him, but I'm waiting until everything is done so I can binge it. Like I'm one of those
Batman meets Indiana Jones meets what's the movie with the multiple personalities? Split.
Oh, okay.
Like that.
Huh.
Those three things and put them together, you kind of got movement.
Interesting. Hey, I'm gonna give it a try.
Oscar Isaac's a dope actor. You know, that's about all I can say to that. You know what I'm saying? So far I heard good things. I watched the first 2 episodes, they were pretty good. CGI horrible.
Is it
horrible. It's like
it's bad?
It's like the Mummy horrible.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Video games.
Don't tell me that.
It's bad. Everything else is good, but the
Mummy? Oh gosh, that's bad.
Yeah, man. So besides that, where's some people at in the chat? Am I missing something here?
Yeah, I'm not seeing too many.
Not yet.
Yeah, not sure what happened.
We're gonna get some folks in here. I hope everybody was able to connect. All right.
Yeah.
Because they can connect directly from
the link. Right? Yep. They're in. I mean, this basically the way this works is it shows you everybody who's in, whether they're on YouTube, Facebook, whatever.
Yeah.
So
okay. Well, we might as well get to it, y'all.
Yep.
So I guess roll the intro. We got a special guest, y'all. This is actually going to be a really interesting interview. I'm looking forward to this. So
thanks.
Let's go.
So yeah, we got Gene Freeman. He's an action actor. He's done actually a lot of dope stuff. You can check his IMDb. He's been in a lot of things. He's been on Nickelodeon. He was an action actor and also I think he did stunt acting as well on Mandalorian. He's been all over the place. Like he's done some independent films. He's produced some films. So he's done a lot of great work. So I'm super excited to have him. Super interesting guy. So yeah, let's get him.
Bring it on. I love that intro, by the way. That intro made me feel like I was about to go on like some journey like a samurai. It's like a hip hop.
That's what's up.
Like, okay.
Glad you like it, man.
Yeah, we about to I felt good. I like that. That's a good intro.
For sure, man. Yeah, I put a link of it on social media for the first time, so that was kind of cool. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, Jaron, I can't even pronounce that. The Barla. What's up?
I just call him Jaron Depar, man. But that's my guy. What's happening, Jaron?
For sure. Hopefully, we'll probably have some stragglers tuned in on the way. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, man. Thanks for coming in, y'all, checking us out, so forth. And yeah, man. So, welcome to the Cre8tive Pit.
Yes,
Mr. Gene Freeman. As Rob said, sounds like you're first time meeting you, bro. Nice to meet you for sure, man. but that you are an accomplished actor. And I remember like when Rob first explained, he was saying like stuntman, and then he hit me back. Was like, sorry, corrected. He is an action actor.
Yes.
So if you could break that down a little bit, sir, what you mean by that exactly?
Yeah, tell us the difference.
Yeah, so because for me, I've definitely been on both sides, like from the stunt community to acting, and it's always been important that you learned both sides. Like that was just my vision of what I wanted to do with my career. I knew early on that I wanted to be the type of person who's going to kick ass, take names, and deliver lines. But when it comes to like just the structure of what I've seen on set, like the actor, they'll do everything for the actor, from finding someone to do it for you to putting the pillow, whatever to make you comfortable to do your thing. And I felt like when it came to stunts, there was no stuntman for the stuntman. You had to be able to do it. Like, if anything, they wanted you to be better than the actor, without saying it, so there was like always that. So I just wanted to merge those two together. And then when I started training at certain places, and just the idea of what some of these people were teaching me, they're saying like, hey, when you're in front of the camera, everyone's acting. I think it's just when it comes to certain things, what you do in that department, that's when it's like, okay, you add the stunts, or you add utilities, you add grip, whatever. And just out of respect for those who came before me and those who came after me, I don't say I'm a stunt man, because they're just things I don't do. But when it comes to playing on that side, like I'm not the type of person, the type of actor who will like, oh, I gotta hide my face or save my face. If I'm hired to hit the ground that day, I'm hired to hit the ground that day. If I'm hired to, double or whatever, I'm gonna play that. So it's just out of respect for those who came before me. But I definitely on both sides, like of the fence.
If you are asking me, if you are like any Russian I've met, you are one of a kind.
You know how many South Africans there are in Russia?
How many?
3.
I believe it.
So what is this?
That's the movie. Second.
That's basically his. I'm showing his reel. I wanted to play his reel while it's going. Can you guys still hear me? I want to make sure the audio is not playing. All right, cool.
Here we go.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Like that. For instance, like a movie like The Second. Instead of it just being an actor who only just comes in and I'm delivering lines, I'm actually be able to be physical, and we can do more. We can play more, and everybody's safe. Like there was a lot of weapons being used on film. And it's like when you're going and energy's high and everybody's going, you want to make sure people still have a cool head on what they're doing. So, very important. And and again, like a lot of the stuff I play, there's a lot of physicality to it. It's not just deliver lines and that's it. It's like a lot of, okay, we're going to be shooting guns, you're going to be dive rolling here, you're going to be put on a wire. Like it's just a variety of stuff. So
what's the train like? How do you prepare yourself for getting into something like that? Like, what do you have to do beforehand before somebody will hire you on to be
train? You got to train. You got to go places. Like, luckily here in LA, there are a few places where you can go to. It's just a question of like some places are special invite, and then some places like they're open to the public, and it's just you just got to keep working on it, keep building, keep moving forward, and people will just see that you're consistent, and someone might say, hey, give you a chance on something, and that's pretty much what it is. Eventually someone has to give you a chance. So you got to train and you got to be seen. So it's like, if you want to fish, you got to go where the fish are, so it's like you got to go to the flip gyms, you got to go where they're doing boxing, or you got to do weapons, like where they're doing jujitsu, like and then look at what you can bring to the table. Like if you can answer that question first, like, what can I do realistically? Like, like in my skill set, I have jujitsu, I have some hand-to-hand stuff, I got some knife, kali, and then a mix of everything else, right? So I know if I'm gonna, if let's say if I'm just taking the more of a physical approach of building my skill set, then I already know what I want. Like I know my type. Like look at my body, I'm like 6'2", 200-something pounds, and on camera I look menacing as hell. So it's not like I'm not gonna play the timid little guy, you know what I'm saying? If I'm gonna play the mug, you're like, oh, you got money? He ain't playing. Like I'm gonna be that guy, So it's like you got to go where you can train. You got to go depending on what you're trying to learn. Like you want to learn high falls, You know, some of the places are a little harder to find, but it's like you got to put that intent out there and just keep doing your due diligence on training. Like there's a basic place for everybody. Like Jam is a good place. Joining on Movement, it's a great place. Workshops, you know, they have open gyms. They even have classes. Like that's a great place. Bob, your place was great. I learned about high falls there. Like that's where I started. John Moyo was showing me some stuff, and you know, so it's like I knew I wanted to be physical. You know, wire work. Tim Storm was like the person who got me started with that. You know, so it was like I knew early on like what I wanted to do, and then like when you go to these places, you know, have an idea. Don't waste anyone's time because no one has time to waste. Like when I don't want to do wires, I knew what type of stuff I was going to be doing on the wires. Like, okay, someone's going to hit me, I'm going to fly back. I need to know what that feels like. I need to know ahead of time what that sensation is.
$5,000.
The price is 10.
I love that scene. That was a lot of fun. You know, like again, like I knew early on what I wanted to learn. So when I go to these places and then I'd say, hey, I wanted to learn this, because they'd be like, hey, we're gonna have you on this kicking drill. Bro, I ain't kicking. You're not, you know, I'm 6'2". I don't buy me kicking. No one has ever asked me to kick once in my career thus far. You know, it's put a mug to a wall, it's grab some guns, it's some other stuff. So I was like, no, man, I need to know what this feels like. If there's an explosion, I want to know what it's like when I'm 3, 2, 1, go, as opposed to it just happened on the day. Because, you know, again, once you book these jobs, like that's not the time to have to learn. Like you should already have your skill set coming in. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's what I would tell people. Like, you know, really know what you want, and then when you start going to these places, have an idea. So you're already solving the job for production down the road. Like I'm skilled in this. I'm gonna learn how to drive. I'm gonna learn how to shoot guns. I'm gonna learn how to get on wires. You know, and start doing it. LA is a great place for that though, and Atlanta. Those two right now are really popping.
Okay.
Nice, man. So, where are you originally from? Are you from California, or are you from where exactly?
I'm originally from Michigan.
Michigan.
Yeah. Lansing, Michigan, Detroit, Michigan.
Yes.
In the midst of that, back and forth.
The Western boy, I see. Midwest.
That's right. We out here, Michiganders.
Okay.
Yes,
And so I see you've been doing some martial arts for some time. You said jujitsu, so forth. So how long have you been training and all that?
Man, that's a good question. I would say before the pandemic, like I would have been like a good year into it, and then you know from that point to now, I would at least have over 3 years. But thanks to COVID, I didn't have that experience. Like it got short. So, and then like a couple other things. It's just been I've been blessed to be around people just showing me different, like the dance. It's more of a dance. Like yeah, there's like forms in martial arts you can learn, but you know, again, in front of the punch is a punch, kick's a kick, unless it's like a period piece, unless it's very specific, you know, like so I knew again. So like boxing, I've been doing that for a couple years off and on, learning some mid stuff, learning some different combinations, knife drills, you know, knife and stick work. The last couple of years. So, I already know what part that was without even seeing it. That was I was orange suit and I threw somebody. Yep. Yes. I don't know that because I edited the hell out of those things.
It's very funny, man. It's very interesting that we're on here talking to you, man, because actually how I got started in, you know, cinematography, video, photography, everything. Technically, I mean, I was doing a little bit of like art and all that before, but really was martial arts and stunt. So I got very lucky back in the day, and I met Robert Samuels, who's one of the most like renowned martial arts black stuntmen in the world. He worked with Sammo Hung and Jackie Chan's stunt crew back in the day, and did a bunch of things with them and so forth. Yeah, Rob, if you get a chance, look up like Bobby Samuels. All right, and you see a bunch of stuff about him. And you know, I started, you know, I had done Taekwondo and karate and stuff since literally I was like 6 years old. And you know, I always wanted to learn like the kung fu stuff and the movie stuff and so forth. But you know, in my area, there was nobody that knew anything and so forth. And man, it was a real random, like roundabout way of a bunch of things that happened to how we ended up meeting Rob. But you know, me and my friend ended up meeting him, and he started teaching us stunts and choreography and all that kind of stuff. I did my first music video when I was like 16, 17 years old, where I did stunts for that and so forth, and then like some commercials and stuff. And then after that, I was hooked. You know what I mean? But I was always interested, like what's everybody doing behind? Like, how you work that camera, bro?
Okay.
And as I got older, I got more into that, and then just kind of spawned from there. And but yeah, man, always avid martial arts and all that stuff since I was a kid myself, and stunts and choreography. So yeah, definitely respect the craft, man, for real.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of work to make it look flawless.
It really is.
So I feel it.
So what's,
Nice.
what would you say has been one of the? What would you say has been your favorite project that you've worked on so far?
Oh wow, that's a tough one. I would have to say my favorite. That's a tough one. Right now, I would have to say there are two shows that I worked on that kind of that meant something. I would say working on with Nickelodeon on a lot of their shows, because Henry Danger was like one of them, and then Danger Force. And the reason being, I remember when I first decided that I was going to go ahead and get back into acting, and I was like, I'm gonna stick it. I'm gonna do me, because I had produced something, and I was like, who's gonna go as hard as you in these situations that you're creating? Because some people are going through stuff in life, and then so I was like, they weren't 100% committed. And once I made that choice, I remember being on set, actually, let me backtrack. So I get this call, Vince Drake, guy, great guy, gives me the call, tells me to come in for this audition. I'm like, I go in, I book it, and then on top of it, so they show me the rehearsal, and the first thing is this: someone does a Saiichi, and I'm like, I've never done a Saiichi. I've never done that. And so they were like, it's all good, man. It's like you go in the air and act, but you don't actually land the flip. You're in the falling. I was like, yeah, okay. And then someone overheard me, and I'll just say his name is Joe, and he was like, man, if I sent you home, and I was just like, well, and in my head I'm like, well, I didn't get sent home. I'm here. I am. I'm about to do this thing, right? And so he was on me. He was like telling me some stuff like, yo, man, you're too close. Da 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 da. And I was like, okay. So again, this is one of those moments you got to rise to the occasion. You can't dilly dally. Like, this ain't the time for that. So I had to pull on all the things that I know about myself in this situation. Like, I'm a hard worker. Like, if you tell me I can't do something and I know I can, I'm gonna go drill it. I'm over here in the corner working these moves. I'm like, okay, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. And I was like, okay, it's kind of like this collie stick. Okay, I got that in the space. And so then I even videotaped myself, took it home, worked on it some more. And the next day we're like getting ready. We got to perform it for the executives and the kids and everything. So we got to put on a live show. Okay, multicam. I've never put on a live show like that. And I was like, wait a minute. Yes, you have. I'm also from the music world. So we've toured all over the US. We've done shows. And I was like, wait a minute. Okay, it's the same sensation, that same energy when you're on stage. Okay, we know this. So do your push-ups, get ready. And then Joe was like, he's like, hey man, I just want to let you know, man, you got it. You're already in there, bro. He's like, he's like, my bad if it came up a certain kind of way. And I was like, no, man. I was like, I needed that. I need someone who's gonna, be honest, be real. Because again, I want to be the best performer in anything I do. Mm-hmm. So I didn't even care enough to say something to me. And now to this day, he's like one of my best friends. I always can ask him a question. And I can always call and ask him, and he can give me advice and tell me certain things I need to do, and things I need to navigate through the business. So I thought that was very, important. And so when we got time to really do it, I took a moment and I'm looking around with a big, huge life-size fan. There's green screens everywhere. And I'm thinking yo, this is crazy, because I had a vision board 7 years ago of me being on set on a big stage with a big fan. And I was like, yo, God, it's so good. This is happening right now. I recognize that moment. And so to me, that was a really big one. And then working on The Mandalorian, just because that was Star Wars and it was something different. And, Carl Weathers gave me some of the best advice that I use still to this day. If you ever heard Carl Weathers talk, it's just hearing thunder and lightning. You just like, I just got to listen to everything you say. Is so compelling. I believe you. Yes, yes. And you know, we're talking about stunts and acting and stuff, and he was like, and he was like, we're talking about the 007 Casino Royale in the stair fall, and I was like, yeah, I don't do stair falls. He was like, oh no, and he's like, no, no. And then he's like, and we talked about the car hit. I was like, yeah, I definitely would not do a car hit. He's like, they don't call you much, do they? I was like, oh, they do, but they don't call me for that. I was like, no. I know too many. I was like, you know, be honest, Carl. Like, no, like, hey, man, I ain't gonna just tell you which one to hear, and then you put me in one, and then all of a sudden, no. Like, I know my lane. I know what I can bring to the table. No, I do not want to get hit by a car and fall down some steps. And but during like that conversation, it was so cool because he was giving me gems that went beyond stunts, went beyond acting, went beyond producing and directing. Because second season he got to direct, and I'm asking him while we're at Cre8tive, I was like, "Hey, Carl, did you know you were going to be doing this?" He was like, "That was already planned." He was like, "That's predestined." And I was just like, "But don't you find it hard to act and direct at the same time?" And as soon as I said that, he stops, he turns. And this is like one of those anime moments where everything happens in a nanosecond, but I took everything in, and he was like, no, actually, it's not that hard. And I was like, you're right, Carl. It's not that hard. You can act and direct. Who am I to say, champ? You're right. You're right. And I remember I had went from that and produced my own project where I'm like fighting like 20 different creatures, and I came up with the choreo, and I had my buddy Josh come in with the wires, and the guy, like, I had this whole thing that I put together, and I was in it. I was able to tell people what I wanted. I shot the previs. I sit there and I wrote the story. So like when he said that I could, I knew in that moment I could either solidify my reality by what he was saying, or I could go into something else. Like, no, man, whatever, Carl, you can't do that. You know, but no, I was like, skip it. I need it. I want it. You know, you can't put a beast in the box type mentality. I was like, so let's go. So like those two things, I would say two films meant something to me in a certain kind of way. And then I would just say end that with Puka Lives, because that was something I always wanted to do creature work. And I'm glad that popped up when it did. Like I always wanted to do creature work.
Was that the teddy bear one looking thing?
Yeah, that's the teddy bear.
I was like, what the heck is that?
Yeah, that was crazy because I was on one set, and this is one of those, because you do multiple things and people recognize you and they know that you do it well. Where I was working on another show playing O.J. Simpson, and I saw the coordinator, and I was like, oh wait, I know that guy. I was like, no. So I was like, hey man, how you doing? Da 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 da. And he's like, oh, you were on this? And I was like, yeah. He's like, oh man, this dude, he could have did all his action himself because he can play both sides. And I was like, that's what I want. That's my goal. When I go on set, he's the guy who can do this. That's the guy. Like whether it's lines, whether it's physical action in front of a camera, whether it's coming up with choreo, whether it's, I can play across the board and communicate. So that felt good when he was like, yeah, I got something else for you. You might be able to do it. And that's when the Puka thing came. He's like, so we had to create this creature. I had to create the movements. There's no visual I can't see. You know what I'm saying? That was season 2. I'm like, I can't see. I had to count my steps. And this is another thing where it goes into training. Like, because I went to one of Joining All Movements workshops Aaron Tony had, he specifically was talking about being in suits where you have to find your calm. Like, you have to be cool because everything's going. He's like, you might overheat, you might get claustrophobic. You have to really be centered. So when I was in this suit, they had all these ice packs on me and stuff, and I'm just like, okay, I'm good. It was like, I knew that was another moment for me. It was like, because everything was just lined up. It was just like, oh, he's an actor. You put him in this. Oh, he can do stunts. He can do this. Oh, he can do this. And it was like this, and this, and just kept adding and kept going. And it was just like, everything was just like synchronized for me to get that. So that's another movie that I just enjoyed as well. So hopefully they do a third one, because then that'd be a franchise boy, because that'd be 3.
Nice.
That's cool.
So I'm curious. You mentioned some big things there, Mandalorian. So how was it being on set for that? Were you part of the
Happy Halloween, fellas?
Sup, witches? Hey.
We should play a board game.
What about this one? Uncanny Annie.
Were you
all right,
were you part of the sound stage where they got the new LED screen?
Yep.
that kind of follows. And how was that?
That was insane. That's one of those appreciations, because if you do camera work, and prior to that, like I've done like over 10 years worth of camera work, right? So the appreciation to see that set. Shout out to Ryan Watson for that, because that was a beautiful moment. That I felt like I was in NASA. It was just insane how all of this was in front of me. I'm just like, look how the camera's moving, and they be able to do all the crazy things. And this is better. It's like green screen on crack on 2.0 on LED. Like, it was insane, bro. Like, I loved every minute of that. That was just insane. From just looking at the camera, messing with the baby Yoda, like all of that. It was amazing.
You got to play with baby Yoda.
Oh man, yo, I got
the real puppet version.
So I got to pick him up, like, because they needed. I got to actually pick up. That was a lot of pressure, by the way. Picking up.
You're like, don't break it.
They were puppeteers, like, hey man, don't pick it up too fast. Another dude was like, man, you got the director's like, pick it up fast. I was like, look, I gotta listen to the director. Fast. Like, hey, you know, like,
what do I do?
Yeah.
Which episode were you on? You were on the second.
I worked on season 1 and season 2.
Okay.
Yeah, so pretty much wherever Carl had some action, and there's explosions and stuff. Yeah, I remember one day there was a big explosion. That was that's another thing where you have to like know your stuff and look around. Like, don't just dilly dally. Like, when they were bringing us back to set, I remember looking at where they put all the different charges and everything. I was like, here, like, instead of just like, oh, okay, yeah, and then stuff just like, I'm here to work. So it's like I had to know where everything was. And then I was like, hey, Carl, for your character, how are you moving? Like, I had to study how he moved instead of just doing whatever. Like, you know, especially when you go work on these projects, you really want to be a part of the process and not the ego. So it's like, hey, let's work together. How are you moving? Like, did you use your right hand? Did your left hand? Like, and that's where I feel like as a performer, it makes you that much better when you get to double, because you teach how to be different, how to not be like the actor, but how is the character? Like, you hear a lot of people talk about like how they worked on the character. It's a different mentality, and I think mentality is a huge thing to have in this business. Like, how do they see it, and can you see it that way? And can you be like water? Can you flow? Or use this in a box? Like, all I do is this. And like, you're like, okay, that's a one-trick pony, but you know, we need you in this space. Can you do it like this? So, you know, like all of those things was like super important. I felt, you know, especially with Mandalorian, like it was crazy. It's so dope.
Yeah, and to give you guys a little bit of insight when I say the giant LED screen. So basically, Disney created. It's not just Disney, because
there's a few.
Yeah,
is it in Tyler Perry studio?
Yeah,
studio, right?
I think they do got one at Tyler Perry's.
I think it's one in Tyler's and whatever. But basically, whatever company developed this new technology where instead of having to do like a green screen, it's an actual LED screen, an actual ginormous, ridiculously curved monitor around you. And they have it synced through, you know, whatever algorithm, AI, artificial intelligence, whatever, to where basically it can follow the camera and map out whatever scenery is behind the subject. So it allows the camera to move in real time and the subject to move in real time, and the background moves and changes light and all the things necessary. So it looks seamless, and basically it eliminates green screen. You really don't need green screen anymore. You can literally do it in real time, because it kind of becomes even actually more accurate, because the lighting that it produces can mimic exactly what, you know, it will look like in real life in that particular environment. It's like it's all new. It's pretty much state-of-the-art technology, and it's insane.
I saw a really cool application of it. They have these MMA fights, and they have it in the backgrounds, the LED wall. So it's basically kind of like you got a Street Fighter stage in the back of these MMA fights. So it's like it's like they got like towers, and there's people in the background like cheering and stuff like that. But it's on it's really cool. Like the stuff that they're doing with it is awesome. It's definitely the next thing.
It's like a beautiful song and dance. Like, it's a beautiful dance because they all work together in tandem. It's a beautiful way to see it all at once.
Yeah, man, technology is crazy. I swear. And I mean, so you said, before I even get any further than that, you said that you did camera work before. You did camera work for like 10 years. So explain a little bit about that. What camera work did you do? What do you mean by that exactly?
I
think I know what you mean.
Content. I shot things from scenes to commercials to, like, I pretty much picked up that camera and went to work. You know.
So what kind of cameras were you using? What kind of
stuff
you working with?
Yeah, at the time, I was using a Canon 5D, 7D. Then I went to what was it? Red cameras. Some of those were heavier. Let's see. I was on the hoverboard, or hoverboard, on the airboards. Like, yeah, I would be doing that. Like,
wow.
Yeah, I was shooting documentaries. I was doing using red cameras, Osmos, DJI. I was flying drones for a couple movies. I did some drone work for that, and then I was shooting previses with the smaller cameras, like with the Osmo. I was using the Osmo a lot at that time because I was able to capture the action while moving on my hoverboard. So I'm like just and pulling in, pulling back. I was shooting music videos, model videos. I did some stuff with Terrell Owens. I did like photography. Shot Lance Armstrong, and I think what was I using? I used the Sony A7S for that. Mark II. Yeah, so I was like, yeah, just a variety of cameras. I shot with the Ari. I shot with Red. So I've shot a lot. Use a lot of cinema too. But yeah, like I used to be the guy. Yeah.
Nice, man. Yeah, I'm always curious. I that's kind of mainly what I do as well. Cinematography and so forth. Both video and film, working with, all the Reds, Aries, Panavision. I've shot with film, all that kind of stuff. So, various projects. So I very much understand and how it is, man. So yeah, man, it sounds like you hustle. I mean, LA is that beast anyway, though. I mean, like once you out in LA, you in the scene, like you kind of you go where it's at. You know what I mean? You just try and make it happen. I think everybody's doing that a little bit these days. It's not how it used to be, like old LA and old Hollywood, where it was like, you kind of whatever lane and you kind of stick with that. Now everybody kind of bounces around and it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I think, it's one of those things where it's like early on, like, because I come from music. So it was like you had to, not only sing, but then I had to learn how to rap. I had to learn how to write. I had to learn how to produce. I learned how to sell my stuff. I learned how to market. Like, so I went from, because I didn't like waiting. Like, our family was never the type to wait. Like, it's like, if you want it, go get it and make it happen. So it was like, fail trying or keep moving forward. So it was like, I was very animate about making moves. Like, I had ideas. Like, I have a bunch of ideas, and I was like, I don't want to wait on someone to say it's okay for me to have this idea. So, my experience was like, if I want my success, I have to create it, because if I wait on somebody, it may not ever happen, or it would happen the way they want it to happen. So, like that right there. Like, I shot that myself.
Nice.
Like, yeah, like it was, again, because it was like I went to school for Photoshop, so I had to learn like how to use all these tools, because I was like, I want to be efficient in my vision, because I don't want to wait on anybody. So I could take something and make it look like a lot of money, as opposed, and I spend nothing. Even like that, I edited my photos. Like, I don't have to wait on someone to say, hey man, could you edit some of my photos? Can you do 10 photos? And they'd be like, yeah man, $20 a photo. And you'd be like, I don't have $20 right now. Not saying I want to not play the person for their skill set, but it's like, if I ain't got it, or if I pay for it and you take too long with getting it back, I shot that, myself. Again, it was like, I don't like waiting. I want to create. I see it. I was, blessed with this eye, with this gift to see things a certain kind of way. So it's like, I always wanted to develop it. I always wanted to push and find different ways to be creative, like to wear that type of prosthetic by those amazing people on the Orville and not captured.
I was just about to ask. I was like, is that Star Wars? Or is that, it looked like the Orville?
Yeah, like, that's another show. Like, I love sci-fi. My parents, we owned a comic book store. So growing up, like, I was surrounded by comics and creativity and fantasy. So to be on that, yeah, like, and it's funny because I remember I first saw that show. I was like, I'm gonna be on that show. Let me get on that show. And
No, like it's sad to say that the Orville is more Star Trek than the Star Trek right now.
yeah. Yep. He had people from Star Trek on there. Like he had it from the source. Like he had Seth MacFarlane actually had people from Star Trek on there. You know, when you can see William Riker giving directions, and you know, I was like, yo, that's crazy. I'm like,
yeah, it's hilarious. Like it's a parody, but it's actually better than Star Trek.
It's so good
right now.
It's unfortunate what's happened to Star Trek.
Bro, it's good. Like, Seth MacFarlane took the heart of what Star Trek was and put it into his film. Showed his version what it could be. Like it might have started out kind of campy the first episode, but by the time you're done with the season, you're like its own thing. Like it's not.
Are you part of the next season? They finished the next season, right, or something like that. They're ready to put it out. I think on Hulu.
Are we allowed to ask?
Hey, you gotta stay tuned. Look at my IMDb. That's all I'm saying. Look at my IMDb.
I plead the visit.
I'm just proud.
You got the NDAs. I got you.
I don't know what I can't. Look, all I know is that's the thing too. Like I used to be so hype about all the shows I worked on. Like, yo, I'm working on the show. And then I see the edit. So now I just shut up. If you see it, are you on TV? Okay, then I was on there. But you know,
you don't know whether or not. That's interesting. So sometimes you don't really know whether or not you're going to be in it.
Oh yeah, I got you.
Unless I feel like this, unless you're like the top 3 on the call sheet, you don't know how your scene gonna look.
You don't know. Yeah, they might cut it. They might whatever.
Man, I said a cowboy film, and we shot this one scene. It was so dope. I was excited to see it. So when I didn't, my heart hurt. I was like, oh, we were in the cold, shirtless, in a church. And we didn't even get to see. I was hurt.
What kills me is like it'd be like premieres and movies and stuff. I've had this happen a couple of times where I went to a couple of premieres and like people was completely like certain people for whatever reason, you know, they cut it for whatever reason, but like people was completely X'd out of the film, and they still invited them to the premiere. So it's like you going to watch a movie that you ain't even in, that you just gonna sit and say you was a part.
I guess that's
I never understood that. I was like, so weird.
So what's really interesting. So when it's because I'm looking at your IMDb and I see what's on there, like the most recent thing on there. Like if it's on your IMDb, does that mean that you're going to appear in it, or is just you've worked on it?
Nope. Credit for the work that I did.
I see.
That's
IMDb pulls from like SAG and pulls from a couple different things.
I see.
So like it doesn't necessarily mean. Especially if it's new, like if it's dates above what's actually out yet, I've seen that happen. I've seen people get hyped, like, yeah, man.
Nope. Got a picture and everything. Booked it. See me at 8:00.
Nope.
I didn't see you, bro. Then you got that one family member. I was watching the show. I didn't see it. I didn't see your little self. I just looked weird doing. You were like, not you.
So you how about you?
Yeah, no, I don't tell it anymore. I just like if it comes out and you see it, like The Rookie. I worked on The Rookie. I forgot it came out. Someone's like, "Yo, I just saw you on The Rookie." I was like, "Okay, yeah, good. Yeah." Then I was on there. Yeah.
There was on.
Yeah, like I worked on a couple shows and different stuff where like my name wasn't even in the credits. Like
that
a couple people that happens all the time too.
That part. That I think.
And they looking at me like, you worked on what again?
Yeah, I don't name in the credits. Now you want to read. That's like I said, be that one family member that made you be like, "Oh, show you." I ain't see you in the credits.
I didn't need you had to bring that up.
Right. I thought he in California. What he doing? That's why I don't tell nobody nothing.
So tell us a little bit right now, man. From especially pandemic and just where everything is at now. Kind of what is the state of like Hollywood and work and what's going on right now? You know, it seems like things are kind of picking back up. Stuff has gotten weird because of the streaming and all. Like, you know, just kind of where do you see things for actors right now? And you know, we try to make this show as much as it's entertaining, kind of educational as we can, as far as creatives and people trying to get in the field. Right. You know, from actors, photographers, whoever. So you know, tell us a little, just kind of, you know, where you feel for actors and people wanting to get into movies in Hollywood and so forth, whether it's acting, whether it's stunts, whether anything in front of the camera, what advice would you give them right now?
Mm-hmm.
Would say shoot it, edit it, start out. It depends on what you're trying to do, but I definitely feel like you have a phone, so you have a way to shoot something. You don't have to wait. I wouldn't wait. I would say if you're gonna,
you would suggest of people doing their own thing as far as their own projects.
It's like going to the gym. It's like your camera is like a way for you to go to the gym. Like if I turn my camera this way now and I work my scene, this is no different than if it was an Ari in front of me. You know what I'm saying? It's no different than if you're on a set. What makes a set different from any other set? Nothing. The people in it maybe, but a set is a set. So if you take the time out, and that's what I've been doing, in addition to everything else, is creating my own traumas, my own space where I have to work it out. Like I want to do more leading man stuff. Well, what does that look like? What does that look like for Gene Freeman? So instead of me waiting for an audition, I'm making these scenes. Like, okay, I need to play off of a woman. I need to play off of this. I need to do that. I think like the people on Instagram have, the people make their own videos. I think they tapped into it early. That's like Big Ja and all these other guys. They're shows because they already saw like, okay, if I want it, create it. You start from your phone, then you start making relationships, and then you start showing people you're serious. Then you post something, you're having a conversation, you DM it. Now I feel like you have to be proactive because there's so many people now who I feel like I'm a star. So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put something in the forefront, even if it's not great, because now it's not even about greatness; it's about consistency. How consistent are you? If you only do it once a week in this day and age with this stratosphere, you're not going to be around much. You're waiting. You might as well be a fish at Costco. Like you're just one part of the fray. But if you're always continuously putting stuff out and you're working on your craft, like yesterday, I had my friends over from 10 to 1. We're shooting a scene. I already know 2 pages. I can do that in 2 hours. I know that it takes 30 minutes for setup. I know it takes 30 minutes to tear down. So I'm already thinking in this space. So when I these projects, I can get there way faster. So when I get an audition, I'm like, okay, I already blocked this out. Just do this on the page, on some Amy Linden stuff. It's like you have to be proactive. You have to, grab your phone, get a couple friends together, start somewhere. And I know that sounds really cliche, but there's something to that. It's something to have, like just the fact that there's 2 of you working on this because you guys did this. Look at what it looks like right now. Yeah, both got lighting in the background. Iron sharpens iron. He's got the lighting in his background. You guys both got a theme. It's working. It's a cohesiveness. I'm pretty sure there's storming moments, but you're working together. So it's like, use that. Again, take your phone. Build like what do I want to do? Look at my shows. Like I have 5 shows that I look at that I know I want to play. I want to do some Arrow type stuff. Okay, I wrote an Arrow like scene. The first time I wrote it, I was like, something's missing. Something's missing. What's missing? Oh, I got to talk about the city because, the city and the crime in the city, they always talk about that in Arrow and they talk about that in Gotham. So it's like you got to incorporate the lingo. All right, do it.
So as an actor, you would say that you pretty much grab your phone, grab whatever, and just start shooting as much scenes, many acting things as you can do for shows or whatever it is that you're into, and just send them in kind of deal.
Yeah. You can send them in. You can tag. I mean, look at Instagram. Who's not on Instagram on a set on through day to day? You create something and then it's good, or like I said, or you just keep putting it out. I got a friend named Van Stokes. He's all over the place now because when he posts something, it's not only is it good, it's engaging. He's always doing something funny. So it's like this guy, I could trust him on set. This person, I know he can do this job, and it's like that's what you want to do. You want to already showcase that you understand your job. You've already answered the question for production. I'm not crazy. I'm sane. I know my craft. That's why, like, if you look at the TikTok, they're getting deals because those are hours and hours and hours of knowing your brand.
Yeah, following.
You know what I'm saying? You've been working on your brand. You know what it is. Look at King Bosh. You know what you get when you talk to King Bosh. You know what it's gonna be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like the what was the one Asian kid that was doing all the crazy stunt and fight scene work and stuff? He did like the Naruto joint and all. And then he got.
Are you talking about back when what's his name? Freddie W was doing stuff?
I can't remember. He got hired. He was the teacher instructor in Shang-Chi. And his buddies were doing a bunch of like fight scene choreography where they were playing like Naruto characters and all kinds of stuff. And they just blew up. Asian kid.
Chris Cowan, the black dude, the main guy who was on the second unit on the unit for that. Cowan. Yeah, like those guys. Like they took it, like they went in and they knew what they wanted to do. They started working.
They hired a bunch of and I
remember how they started and how they are now. You know, like we are the next wave of the next generation of filmmakers, of the next of content creators, the next of performers. So it's like the quicker you can tap into that, the better off you are. Like he's Chris Cowan is so talented, but like he's always been working, and then he's got talented friends. Like he it's like knowing your lane too. Like he's always wanted to do the camera. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing like everybody wants to be everything, but it's like when you know exactly what it is and you play within that. That's how I do treat my friends. I'm like, yo, look, if you need me to act, I don't have to star, but this is what I can do. Now, if you just want to do to hit the ground, I get paid for that. I'm not that. Don't call me for that. But if you want to call me to do something where it's like it builds character, it's about the role. You know what I'm saying? Like I know what I can bring to the table. That's different, and it's like knowing yourself. You know, and you're not wasting time.
So besides, content, build yourself up, social media, all that kind of stuff, what other advice would you give? Because what I tend to see sometimes is from actors, from directors, from, photographers, whoever, in whatever type of industry, I like to get a little more deeper in explaining stuff. And I'll kind of chime in a little bit here and there, which as well. But like, really explain like the ins and outs, because this is where I notice people get discouraged a lot. So let's say you have somebody who's a budding actor, right? They want to be an actor. It's something they want to get into, whatever reason, so forth. It's their passion. They want to do it, but they really don't know where to start, right? And it's like, okay, I'm making content. I'm doing this stuff and I'm not getting the traction I want, whatever, and so forth. And there are some other steps to do, and they get this, how do I get in SAG? How do I get in SAG? All those kinds of different things. Like, what are like some of like, so let's say you had a kid, in early 20s, whatever, 19, 20, 21, 22, whatever, handsome young man, lady, whatever, and young, beautiful, whatever. and they think they got a shot, people telling them whatever, they really want to get into it. Or a big one we see, they're translating over from modeling. That's a big one I see. A lot of the models we shoot, a lot of people I work with, a lot of the actors that I work with, a lot of them were previously models usually. Right. What advice would you really give them to really transferring over? What are the first couple steps, the main steps they should do?
Do you have that would be the first thing. Do you have a headshot?
Say it again.
A headshot.
Headshot. Okay.
Like that's do you have your marketing tools? If you don't have those, who are you? Again, it's about answering the question for production. Who are you? Why should I? If you don't even have the basic things like a headshot, your resume is not even about the resume, but just like your headshot. Do you know your type? You know stuff. So the headshot would be the first thing. Second thing, I would say get into Amy Linden's class, like because you need a process. A lot of this is about confidence and mindset. So it's like, how when do you feel confident? When you know your stuff, when you know your craft. This I was like, yo, man, I need to shoot a video. You ain't gonna be like, oh man, I don't know how to shoot this video. You gonna be like, okay, what we doing? What's the budget? As opposed to, oh man, I've never done this before. Is there a budget? I should like, what I'm saying? You've already done the work. So it's like,
so you said whose class again?
Amy Linden.
Amy Linden.
Yeah, she's a beast. Like I love her mentality. I love how she views things. She's like, you're a champion. Like I feel like when you use words like champion, when you use words like building, so like I say building instead of grind, right? Because I feel like when you grind, what are you doing? You're withering down. How when people talk about grinding, what do they say? Oh man, I've been grinding. It's like, damn, all right. What does that entail? I've been doing. I'm tired. I ain't got no sleep. But if you say you building, that's a different mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like we building. Like that. There's so much that plays into the mind, especially right now. if you don't I'm not talking about that disillusion, like I'm just dope. Like, no, put in the work. Like, I know I got a headshot. I know I've taken classes. I have a foundation. So whatever you bring my way, I'm gonna do. I know I have my person that I call to for self-tapes. These are the things like you've already started building your career. So, because again, you're competing with people that in that smaller percentile that do these things. He has a process. Like, do you have a process? Or are you just wishing on looks because hopefully someone sees you? Like, well, again, headshot, class. Now, are you on different platforms for people to see you? Are you on Actors Access? Are you on Casting Network? Are you on Castabout? Are you on, if you're talking about doing stunts, have you looked at Stunt Pock? Have you looked at Stunt Phone? Have you looked at Stunts Unlimited? Are you doing those things? Or have you been training? You know, like that's what you need to have. Do you have your list?
Pause right there. We're going to add some of that into.
Yeah, I was going to say, let me.
Names like you just named a bunch.
Yeah.
That's that people don't know a lot of times. Like y'all say, like no disrespect, but like I see this a lot with actors, whoever's on, like y'all will name stuff like, yeah, man, do this, and be like, nigga, what? I don't know none of that. Right. Like, yeah, I mean, like, so because you had mentioned something else too. You said face shots, or what did you say earlier?
No.
You said headshot, and you said something else.
Yeah, some of those resources that you had named off.
Like the Actors Access, that type of stuff.
Yeah, what stuff should they be on? You said something.
Yeah, even that right there.
Everyone doesn't know these things.
Right. So,
see, you're used to it because you're in it. You know what I mean?
You got to do diligence because even for myself, like how I started, someone said go to Central Casting. What is Central Casting? I was like, I don't know what that is.
See, pause right there. See, that's the thing sometimes, because it's like what tends to happen a lot of times is like, especially people that's been in it for a long time. I have done this myself and had to check myself and how when it came to teaching people, because I would do seminars sometimes for colleges and stuff, and I just start rambling off stuff, and then after the seminar, they would come back and be like, "Hey, that was great. You didn't tell them everything they really need to know." It was like you went too fast, or whatever. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people don't realize sometimes is like, you know, some people do it on purpose. That's a whole nother story.
Oh yeah,
but it's like, you know, there is a wealth of stuff out there, but it's one of those things. Like it's one of the same things. Like I remember somebody said something so long ago, and I had to argue with them. They were like, "You have the internet now. You can get anything." I was like,
if you know where to look.
If you know where to look. I was like, that's like somebody saying, "Hey man, you need to learn business. Right. Go get a book on business." And then you go to a Borders, you go whatever, and they go, "Okay, here's the whole section on business.
Right.
Good luck." You know what I mean? It's like, what?
Go to the library. You got a library card? Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
So it you know, you got to know where to go with the, you know, like specifics. You know what I mean? Right. People sometimes got a problem with saying specifics. Sometimes it's on purpose. Sometimes it's just because we're used to it.
Right.
I completely understand. But I'm going to get a little hard on you to give specifics because it's important because so many people don't know. You know what I mean?
That's the thing with the specifics. Like, again, everywhere I just listed, that's the beginning stuff right there. You know, and so that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're serious, then there's a difference between the person saying I want to do it and the person who's like, I've been doing, like I'm all about this and I'm gonna do my list. I will look online because you can't. Like YouTube University is probably the best thing you got right now. If you want to learn about camera, lighting, techniques, even if you don't believe in the techniques, at least you've tried. Right. You know what I'm saying? At least you've looked at it. So again, I tell people, you know, headshots, that's your first thing that they're going to look at. That's your first piece of representation, your headshot. You don't have a headshot, how are you going to get in the room? You don't, it's not on the door.
So once you get that headshot, what would you say is the most, where do people who are looking to cast go in order to find you or somebody who's trying to get into? What are the best places that you need to be? Because
so you take the headshot,
right? Where do you put
it? So again, Actors Access. That's it's a certain amount that it takes a little money to make some money in this business.
Now, what is Actors Access?
That is a platform designed for casting to upload their sides for the actors. And depending on if you have an agent or not, you can even submit. Here's the thing. You can even submit yourself on some of these platforms. But if you have an agent, then they can do it for you. And it's a place where that's one of the ways you can get work. You know, they put some really good stuff on there. You know, and again, but you gotta have your account set up. You gotta have some pictures. You gotta have more than one look. But you gotta start something. If you don't have a lot of money, your phones are really great right now. Like I've done photo shoots with my phone. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's no.
I'm sorry, go ahead. My bad.
If the one thing I want to definitely say, there's no excuse right now. Like this is probably the one time in history where you can literally have an idea and find it, and find someone in some way. I'm looking for a screenwriter right now. Fiverr.
Yeah,
I'm on Fiverr right now. Never heard of it till 2 days ago. All of a sudden now I got like 5 different people I can look at for writing my stuff. So it's like if you really want to be an actor, and then what type of actor? Do you want to be a theater actor? Do you want to be a TV actor? You want to be a film actor? Like where do you want to go? Like how specific are you? It's just like you want specifics from the person. How specific are you when you ask these questions? Because if you're just it's like I just want to fish. Like you need to come a little more grounded. And if you're not, then you need that's what you need to do first.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna give a few tips myself as being in a bit of the industry a little bit. So I'm not an actor. I try to stay away from that as much as possible. Like the only times I acted was because I did martial arts for so long, and like I was that dude. Like you need me to run. I used to be. I don't know more. I'm too old now. But like you wanted me to run and flip off the wall and whatever. I'm your guy kind of deal. Like I was real good in gymnastics and everything else. I did wushu and all that for a long time. I trained with some of Rob and people's stunt teams and stuff like that. So like I was very, wire work, trampolines. So I was always that guy. So I hated being in front of the camera, but sometimes it was like I was the only one that could do it. So you're like, John. I'm like, all right. But anyways, I got behind the scenes and yada yada. But the point is so one thing I would suggest to actors, kind of going back to what Gene said a little bit earlier, of like, be open to do a little bit of everything. Don't just be sitting here and I'm an actor. I only act. This is all I'm gonna do. Easy, I can't say easy. It's not easy. Nothing's easy in this business, especially Hollywood. But one thing you can do that kind of get you in, at least get you around it, get you around the people and so forth. Couple things. Number one, join some Facebook groups, join groups and so forth for actors and especially extras. All right. Now, as extras, you don't get paid a lot. It's not, a lot of it's not glamorous. It's not a lot of times you barely even going to be seen if seen at all. Right. But you're around it. All right. And especially if you're on the East Coast, for instance, me and Robert in Pennsylvania, so forth. I'm in Philadelphia. I'm 2 hours from New York. Right. And a lot of people I work with over, in this area.
In the Pittsburgh area, there's a lot
in this area. They don't go and do enough extra work and so forth. I'm like, bro, New York, right there, 2 hours, and you can jump on a set literally that fast. You don't got to have your SAG. You don't got whatever. They pay you like you can get paid a couple $100, whatever. Not even, but you're there. Just go, and it's going to probably be boring. It's not going to be that great, so forth. But if you keep going, you keep being around it. You start getting to know people. You start meeting further.
Hold on
one sec. See, mindset. You just said it's probably going to be boring and this, that, and the third. When I worked on Live Free, Die Hard. My mindset is what got me all 3 of my SAG vouchers on that as an extra. So I went from just doing the blue voucher. So for those who don't know, before you can even do certain things in film, you have to have your SAG. That's a whole other fight. But like you said, starting on set as an extra, that's a great space to be. That's one of the best spaces you can be because you get to
trick for SAG too. I'll explain.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's the mindset. It's like, yo, I'm on set. I'm getting crafty. I'm getting paid for a couple of seconds on a set to do something. Whatever you're gonna do, it's not gonna be all day because your background. You're literally gonna be it. You know what I'm saying? It's like I can talk to the DP. I can watch. I can learn.
It's not even about the set. It's your network.
Yeah,
It's all the time. Shout out to man JB. Like you being on set, and especially if you keep showing up for projects, you're gonna start to run into the same people.
Facts.
We all doing the same thing to an extent and so forth. You're gonna run into the same cameraman and so forth. And just, hey man, what's up? And it's I remember you and so forth. And just be friendly, be open and so forth. And just you gotta be consistent. And it sucks sometimes because especially for extras, because like you can be in the fucking cold sitting in the background like doing nothing. And then until they bring you in and stuff. But it's like if you can say, hey, y'all just sitting here and just kind of scoot away and go, we can't step over this line. Ain't nobody looking. Over there anyway. Right? And then go mingle and like you'd be surprised. Yeah, you might get kicked the fuck out. So what? You know what I mean? So like all kinds of stuff. Like I would highly suggest that for one.
But let me build on that real quick too as well. If you're a parent and you want to get your kids into it, extra work is really good. Like both of my daughters have been in on shows on Netflix, and we did that as parents. So we got them into extra work, and what happens is sometimes they'll start getting called back because if they have a unique look, if they have a because one of my daughters is really tall and she had at the time really big hair, and so they would call her back for just because she has a specific look. So that's one thing that you can do as a parent. If you want to try and get your kids into acting, if you want to try and get your kids into that, definitely do that as well. Like extra work is great. Yeah.
Like you also touched on knowing a type. She was tall and she had a certain type of hair. So it's like if you already start to know these things, you start to pay attention to these things. That's the stuff that you can build off of. So it's like that keeps you in the know, especially if you have parents that are hands-on. They care about your career. Those are the steps. You know what I'm saying? Again, it's all about mindset. It's all about knowing your type, knowing your character. If you as an extra, like that's like one of the best places because I remember and we were all sweating. It was hot. It was like over 100 some degrees. People were like, "It sucks," and I was the only person in that space. It was like, "Yo, this is dope. This is what I do. This is what I do." And then the guy was like,
"You gotta love the grind, man. You gotta love the suck."
So you got see again. It's all about the work. Like I not to nitpick a little bit. The word grind again. I love connecting. I'm a connector. Like my mission is to lead, team, and accomplish. So I already know when I start my day and I go out on set, I know that's gonna happen regardless.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I know my phone's gonna ring regardless. I've always had that mindset. So it's like when people would feel like it was a daunting task, my energy's up. So who do you want to work with? The person's like, "Oh man, I'm not gonna do this unless I get a SAG voucher." I remember that lady said, "No one's getting a SAG voucher." No one. Hey, and I was like, "Hey, Gene, you think you can work this?" I was like, "Yeah, I got it." She's like, "Look, no one's getting a SAG voucher."
I got this.
Yeah, and I was like, "Hey, it's all good." I was like, "It's all good. Work is work."
Right.
The next day, she literally put that SAG voucher in my hand and said, "Welcome to SAG."
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, that you know what I'm saying?
Important, man. I'll give another tip how to get in. Another little secret right here. Going back once again to what Gene said earlier, do a little bit of it all. And I agree this 100%. You can't just be just an actor these days. You gotta learn some writing, you gotta learn some producing, you gotta learn some directing, you gotta learn how to run the cameras, you gotta learn play around, man, learn sound, learn a little bit of it all. Because making your own content is just so important these days. You kind of can't get around it, even as photographers.
Right.
You can't get around. I have photographers all the time go, "I'm just photography." I was like, "Well, then you broke, bro."
Yeah. Better learn how to do it all.
It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So here's another easy thing to do. It's hard as sometimes, or it's not hard. It takes more, and it's more complicated, and it can be a little fussy to get into SAG, right? Mm-hmm. But it's easier to get into the other unions, right? Whether it's grip, whether it's gaffer, whether it's so forth, it's a whole lot easier to get into those unions. A lot of times, all you got to do, depending on the union, is literally pay for it. Depending, some you got to show like mastery of certain stuff, or like some of the grip work and so forth, but not all of them. A lot of the stuff, they literally just want a fee and you win. And here's the difference: like SAG, they kind of like give you little stuff here and there, and you're a SAG. and they make you pay these crazy fees and all this. Where you get into some of the other unions, they'll send you an email list like this, every movie and project and so forth. And as long as you can show up and show your union card, you win.
That's interesting.
It drops on you there, didn't it? Like, so it.
I don't know. I guess it depends because my situation wasn't like that. Mine was. That's why I knew I was destined to be in this because everything was like this for me. You know, I wasn't doing background. Like I think I was in Central Cast and I did like maybe 6 projects, but the 6 projects I did put me in SAG. You know what I'm saying? I was at the Playboy, man. I've had some people.
Yeah, I've had some people struggle with that over the years, and you know, I'm having trouble getting the SAG, whatever. And, you know, they gave up, whatever.
You mentioned like a SAG card, like there's levels of SAG. Like, how does that work? Like, what is
That's all of
them. What's the question?
Because you mentioned somebody gave you like a SAG card, like as if there's like different levels of or a SAG voucher. Like how does that work? Like what is the process around SAG?
I mean, again, so it's like you have union, non-union. There's so many people that they hire for non-union and union projects, right? So the way most people go, there's no one way to go about getting a SAG voucher. That's the only thing about it. Like it could literally be that enough people didn't show up that day, and then you ask, and you're bold enough to say, "Hey, is it possible? Do you have any SAG vouchers? Can I get one?" There's no way to do it, but you do need 3 to do it. You need 3 SAG vouchers, and then you're eligible to join. And during that time, you don't have to do it right away, but then it does allow you to be on both sides, like because non-union pay is totally different from union pay, depending on the project. You know,
so it's like I'm sorry, my bad. I mean, withdraw.
It's all good. So again, it's like, I forgot what I was going with that. So, what you about to say?
My bad, bro. I apologize. Yeah, so like kind of how it works is there's a lot of ways with SAG. So the SAG, like if you have a certain amount of time in speaking role and so forth, right? You pay the fee and so forth. You can get a full what they call grace and get in, right? That's how some actors that kind of spawned out of nowhere and it's like she got this one role and blah 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 blah. And it's like, how the fuck, like, who the fuck? Like that, you can get it that way. The other way is you get the 3 steps and so on and so forth, which is how most actors go through it. And then there's another way that I saw where it's like basically it's kind of hard to explain. Long story short, you got enough money, you can literally pay and get. I've seen it happen. So it's several ways of how you can get in the SAG. And technically it's kind of like that for some of the other unions too, but like I said, just another way. Veteran union for they are a military. Jay Harvell says they are a military veteran union for the film industry too. Yes, there is. Actually, if you are a vet, it can actually help you necessarily with some of the other unions SAG as well.
Who hands them out? Like, is it like the directors on the set? Is there like a union representative there, or like how does that work?
There's when you check in, there's someone who goes over your check-in, and they'll already have your voucher already set for the most part normally before you even get whoever makes the calls and like your second AD and all that stuff. When they make their calls and like they call SAG and get the people on their roster ready.
It's usually who's under the casting director's team.
Yeah, part of the casting
worked out.
But please, I mean, there's different ways to do it. But again, first things first. You know, your headshot, getting on those platforms, you know, doing your due diligence, finding a class, like whether you find a class or because you have to have some type of technique. Like I have different books that I've read. Like it ain't just I go to set and I just hope for the best. Like, no, I really know my stuff. Like, you know, I know like when we're talking about like the camera moving, where the camera is placement. Like that's why I feel like if you're going to do this business, you want to be efficient. Learn how to shoot, learn how to edit, learn how to direct. Those 3 things right there will teach you, it'll help you with your performance as an actor, because that's what I did. So I can't really, and I can contest to that because just that level of energy and commitment made it that much easier when I worked on another show because people already could see it and I already had the confidence. That's another thing too. Like it's a confidence. Again, it's all about what you put in here. If you're confident here, it helps so much more with your performance. It helps you so much more when you're talking to someone about what you do, as opposed to you saying like, man, I just want to act. What does that mean? Like, act how? You know, you did you already do your due diligence before you ask this person's question? When you go on a set, if you're like an extra, and you say, today I'm gonna go ahead and ask about getting the voucher. Are you ready? Are you ready for that? Are you ready for the of okay, this next thing here? If you know what I'm saying, like all of that stuff is important. And I feel like the one thing that with right now is you can get that information. It's all about taking that step. Like again, turning that camera on your phone. That you see, I got a blue screen in my background right now. Why? I was proactive about my auditions. I painted my wall because I wanted to do auditions. What are you doing for your craft? Instead of just again waiting for someone to tell you, how are you being proactive? Because that's gonna
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna chime in on that. Like I both our field as far as photographers, directors, whatever, honestly any creative at this point.
Yeah,
I 100% agree with you, dog, and say like the days of, and I did a seminar not too long ago and I went over this. The days of pick me is over. Yeah. Internet changed all that. Yeah. Because it's way open now. It's too many people. Before, it was already a ginormous lake of people who were just close to getting in. Now it's a sea.
Right. Yeah, everybody's in it.
And you a little guppy, you know what I'm saying, filled with sharks. So, I tell people all the time, like you really can't wait for anybody to give you anything no more. This pick me, you see it even with photographers. My camera is hating on me.
Taking a beat.
Sony, man, I try to rep it every time you start to hate on me. Anyway,
he's in the dark.
I'm gonna come back anyway. Y'all can hear me. But the point is that you really can't wait. This is important. You need to see my face. This is horrible. See that? But you really can't wait anymore for really anybody to pick you or you're going to get seen or found, or Hollywood loves to tell those stories and everything because they're entertaining. But bro, that's such a small amount of people compared to everybody else in the industry that had to hustle, whatever, make it happen, yada yada yada, and so forth. You can't, if you waiting, I don't care if you're a photographer, you're an artist, you're a music artist, you're a filmmaker, you're an actor, whatever. If you waiting, bro, it's about 100 some kids behind you that ain't.
Facts.
You're gonna be in front of you.
Yeah.
So
and also I always had the mentality of what's for me is for me. Period. Point blank. Like I'm not worried about to the left, to the right. What's for me is for me. As long as I do what I'm supposed to do throughout the day, God gonna do the rest. God's my best. Right. You know what I'm saying? I got my manager. I got shout out to Darren. I got my team. Shout out to DDO. And again, I have myself. So between the three of us, and then what God doing for me, I'm gonna be all right.
Right.
I'm gonna get mine. You know what I'm saying? It's a race. Who's gonna make me the best I can be first? And that's really gonna be me. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's really important that people have the mindset, because again, if you look at it like it's gonna be hard, like it's gonna be impossible. Like I'm a what'd you say, a guppy in a land full of sharks. See, I feel like this. I'm more like a beast you can't put in a box. The world is small among giants. That's why, oh man, I seen you at the thing. Hey, bro, how you doing? Because that's just how I think.
Mm-hmm.
I speak on myself. I'm like, thank God for my opportunities, land, sea, air, speaking into existence. Like I'm big on that. So like, you probably won't catch me saying nothing like, oh well, it's hard, it's small. Like I can't. I have to. My mindset is ironclad. You know what I'm saying?
I can tell you're. Would you consider yourself more of an extrovert or an introvert?
Depends on the situation.
I say that because I advocate very hard sometimes, because especially creatives, and once again, this is trying to be a show for creatives. A lot of creatives are introverts. A lot of creatives are very shy, which is what it is, and we can get into various reasons of that, and you shouldn't be, and blah 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 blah. Yeah, he got tendencies. I've seen that myself, but and I don't even think it's necessarily that like you have to be an introvert that turns into an extrovert. I don't fully believe that, because I've seen successful introverts, even more successful necessarily than extroverts, depending. So I think it's really more of a thing of just you gotta find your way a little bit, and you gotta find a way to make it work, whatever. Let alone your niche and all that other kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just a hustle. But going back to what you said earlier, with the headshots, another little tip and niche and so forth, especially for actors. I've done quite a bit of headshots over the years and so forth. Let alone I've done some casting and had to choose. Here's a good tip for headshots for people. Do a bunch of different headshots in characters that you feel comfortable that you can convey. All right. Now I'm not saying like do a headshot and dress up and put a bunch of paint and look like the Joker. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like, I'll give you a perfect example. I had a good friend of mine, Lewis. Lewis is a very funny character. He is like blonde hair, blue-eyed, 6'3", whatever, tall, good-looking guy kind of deal. White guy looking. He looks a lot like a taller, a little bit more handsomer Tommy from Power, right? He kind of looks like that. Right? But imagine him with like blonde hair, like a good-looking guy.
Like the Green Ranger?
Kind of. It's hard to explain, but long story short, he's not even Caucasian. He's not white. He's Colombian. 100%. Right? Speaks Spanish and all this other stuff. And I was like, bruh, I said, I get, you know, all your shots, you look like this handsome leading man white guy, but you speak fluent Spanish, you're Colombian and all this other stuff. You need to somehow show that. Your headshots ain't portraying that. You know what I'm saying? So we did a bunch of things that changed his look to kind of fit that, right? Let alone, and I ran into this too, a couple of other friends of my actor friends, where, you know, I would say, hey, especially guys, I said, I know it's gonna sound weird, bro. White guys especially. I said, I need you to go get extensions. And they were like, what? What are you talking about?
Long hair?
You need long hair. I said, you need some short and you need some long hair. He said, who are you talking about? I said, just trust me, bro. Right? And a friend of mine did that not too long ago, and he got casted, and he's part of one of the Viking shows that's going on right now. And so
that's one of those things.
Like, you can show different looks and so forth, and literally create all different profiles. You know what I'm saying? And because the casting, depending on, they not checking for, if they see one that grips with it, that's all they care about. Right. They're not going, wait a minute, this guy's this, and they don't care. This, do you fit what we need? Cool. All right, come here. You know,
I had a young lady that did that when we were doing headshots. She's an actress, and she made sure that she pulled her hair back for some of them. You know, hair long. You know, just like going through those different looks for the headshots. It definitely helps. So people can see the casting director or whatever wants to see what you would look like if, you know what I mean.
Especially guys, because they don't do it a lot. The girls, they kind of get it. They mix it up a bit. The women, you know, easy rent. But guys,
they know. Yeah, they know.
Have stagnant headshots, and that's it. Really try and mix it up, put a bunch of different, you know, servers, whatever. Man, my Sony is really.
They said they starting a drinking game in the chat, man.
It's horrible, boy.
And that's another too with the looks. What you guys are talking about. When you go to these sites, you know, like Actors Access, get the ball rolling. You got your first headshot. You need to have different looks for different things, because it's not like, because if you only have one headshot, then that's all you have. Again, you want to be able to answer the question for a casting. So if you're trying to play a Colombian pretty boy and you're playing a love interest, what does that look like? And that's what you need to submit. You can't submit the burglar look, because then that doesn't answer my question. You know what I'm saying? It's like you have to have fits. So like if you're doing multiple looks, it's because that way you're able to compete across the board. Like, okay, if I'm doing a drama, what does your dramatic look like? What does your commercial headshot look like? What does your nerd look like? Are you the rebel? Like, these are the questions that you need to answer. Like when you watch shows, don't just watch a show anymore. Start watching it and seeing, where do you see yourself in this world? And be honest. Do a survey. Ask your friends 10 questions. Hey, if you could put me with 5 other actors, what and why? Why do I fit that? if you could see me on a show, what show would you see me in? If you had words to describe me, how would you describe me? These are the things you could do to help you answer the question. So this will help you with your journey as you're creating your portfolio for what you're trying to do in this business. You know
let me ask you about self tapes.
Yeah,
that's another thing that it's actually something I'm starting to shoot more of here recently. So, what would you say casting directors or people who would look at self tapes or where you would send them? What are they looking for the most in your self tapes? Like, what would you do in that, or what would you coach somebody to do as far as their self tapes are concerned?
Follow the directions in the email. That's the first thing. If they tell you, like, hey, you have your camera this way, so don't have it this way, have it this way. If they say they want it quarter shot, then you need to play in that realm. So it's like those are the first things. Follow those directions. Then if you want to get creative, I want to smoke in the scene. Oh, I want to build the scene. Well, first of all, how big are you a co-star, or are you coming in as a guest star? Because if you're gonna come in and like, yo, I'm about to make this big, huge ordeal and do all this stuff, it could come off the wrong way. Be like, okay, is this person gonna be trying to steal the scene and instead of just moving the story along? Like Amy Linda said, here's your slice of pizza, eat that, and move on about your day. Those are some of the things I would focus on. Like, what are we doing? Is it a 5-pager? Because then I want to play more. Then also it's about who can connect to the material the fastest. That's another thing too, because like some people are able to turn this stuff, get it. Some people can't. But again, who can connect? How do you connect to your material? Are you reading the material? Do you understand your material? Did you read it 10 times? Do you know your beginning, middle, and end? And then so on and so forth. If you want more information, check out her book. But, just stuff like that. Those are the basics. And then you can build from there. Because I've done stuff where I've done lighting, where I auditioned for Law and Order, and I went all out. I had the strobe, the lights looking like I was on a squad car. I had the full tactical thing on, had the gun drawn, but I was in my own space. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good question. So that stuff help, like when you increase the production? Yeah. Okay. So increasing the production value on your self tapes is useful in trying to get different parts.
I mean, if you got the time for it, great. But again, at the end of the day, it's all about connecting to the material. Because if you just got the blue screen, but you can connect, and I believe you more so than the person who had all the strobes and the guns it don't matter. It's all about who connects to the material the best. Do you believe that performance?
So Lisa just put on here, I don't know you, but I want to know it. Sorry, I don't know you, but what I want to know is how you would describe yourself. So I think she's asking, like, you're saying like you would mention yourself and so forth. Like, so if you were actually casting, like, how would you describe yourself? How would you go over, and what would you suggest to people when they're casting and so forth? They're doing a video, they're doing whatever. Like, what are some of the things they should touch on?
Like
casting agent.
Casting, like when they ask you to talk about yourself type deal? Is that what you're
correct? Because I've seen this for myself where, even when I cast it, like where, we want you're going to read lines, you're going to go over stuff. This is the character, so forth. We want you to try and play the character and so forth. But we also kind of want to see a little bit about you and who you are and the person that we even like. Are we going to bring you in? Yeah, I mean, what are some suggestions you would give?
I would, I would try to talk about other things other than acting. I'm like, yo, I've been an actor for this long. I've worked on this play and this play and this play, and I'm, I wouldn't go into all that. I would talk about, other parts of my life that helped me do what I do. Like my roommates have a great dog named Harley, and he's the greatest dog ever. Who would have thought that I would like this dog, right? I'm not even a dog person. I was more of a cat person, but thanks to this dog, I'm now a dog person. And then, then I would touch on things like, I used to live with my parents own a comic book store. That's a huge fun thing. Like, wait, a comic book store? Yeah, there's movie rentals, collectibles, so I got to play and read some of the greatest books ever, having that experience. I would talk about that. It's like you just want to, all they want to do is see that you're relatable, that you're cool, and you're not crazy. So long as you do that, you're good. And confident, have fun with it. Don't take it too personal.
Gotcha.
That's what That was a good question.
Thank you, Lisa. We do appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, man, it's a lot to it. It's a lot to it, especially when it comes to the movie biz and Hollywood and so forth, man. I can see you're making moves and everything else. What are some of the things that's next for you and so forth?
Working on my first action horror film that I'm putting together myself. So I'm excited about that.
You going Resident Evil on us?
You know what? I love psychics. I love powers. So, you know, I'm being creative on how I can do a monster in the house type vibe and play with that. Again, playing with what you have. I have some really good relationships. So, you know, I'm going to tap into those a little bit. I'm also learning how to do some new cool things myself, building my skill set. Like I'm working on the knife stuff and the Kali. So like I'm really submerging myself more in that. Shout out to my boy Johnny for teaching. And then also like I'm trying to figure out ways to help those around me, you know, because when you do what you're called to do, you know, it's a huge difference. Like you'd be surprised how much that helps everyone else around you. Like because I was willing to do these like acting workouts, you know, like from 10 to 1, you know, that helped, you know, my other friend with their confidence, you know, help my friend, you know, work with his stuff. And so it's like and then they're auditioning and they're working on projects. And so it's like, but they're staying sharp, you know, they're staying ready. And it's like, then they're like, oh, I see it. I see myself playing this instead of just playing that, you know? So, you know, I'm really been working on that, showing myself again, like answering the questions, you know, doing my due diligence, you know, because it's deep. It can get really deep. You can be very shallow and be like, yo, I'm just going to do this thing. Or start to like look at the books. You can start looking at documentaries. Like I watch a lot of documentaries. I watch a lot of, I listen to a lot of people and talking about their journey. I watch a lot of podcasts. You know, I'm able to, you know, ask people questions. You know, I'm not the type of person to think I'm too big to ask somebody something. I don't try to be the smartest person in the room, but I definitely know that the smartest person in the room is going to be, you know. So it's like those are the type of things I focus on, and that's where I'm at right now with a lot of it. It's like a lot of mental self-development, you know, and getting back to that space of knowing what I'm capable of and operating in that. That's what
Lisa's going with the questions.
Right. Lisa's very, very interested.
So she started with the good one. So the first one is, what is your favorite director? I think we should go across the board with this. Everybody should answer this one.
Oh man, my favorite. It depends on the genre, but old directors, I would say like Steven Spielberg. And then like,
always.
Yeah, it's like then you like Lucas, and then you can start talking about like for me, you know, Sam Hargrave, Chad Stahelski, who's another one? You know, like some of the newer guys that are coming out. Because I and it's like crazy to watch them work, so it's enjoyable. Jon Favreau was nice, and then I would have to say right now my favorite would be what is her name? She plays on Jurassic Park or Jurassic World. She's directed on The Mandalorian.
What's the name's daughter?
Yeah,
because she directed some Mandalorian, right?
Yeah.
Did she direct your episode?
There's one episode she did direct that I was working, and that was like that was such a great experience too, because I was like, yo, I want to have a conversation. I said,
pretty redhead, bro.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, she is so cool.
Lord. She
is so cool. She's a great, and I'm so mad.
Like a weird, like you don't look like you're from here, but you're here.
Oh no, yeah,
yeah. It's some Hollywood genes, man. Shoot, what is her name?
That's so weird. I talked.
Help me out. Happy Days. Her father.
Right.
Help me out, Mark.
That Ron Howard.
Ron Howard.
Howard is her
father is whatever Howard.
That's so weird. So mad at myself.
But we're on the same page. We know who she is.
Football.
She's really doing her thing, man. I mean, granted, her father is Ron Howard, so.
But she's dope. Like, I mean, she was very hands-on. Like when we were talking about the scene and where she wanted me to come out as one of these corn on The Mandalorian, and we were talking, and she was like, I want to do it like this, and then you're gonna do, like, she was very very hands on. And even when it was time to do like some of the stuff, she was like, do you want to get a pad or anything? I was like, no, I'm good. I don't need it. I'm good. I don't need a pad. Thanks. You know, I got this. And then she was like, really? It's going to be, I was like, yeah, no. And then she was like, Gene, you got to see it. This is the best thing ever. It was like, it looks so great. And I was like, yo. So like, you know, we had our conversation. We had our moment. Like, dang it. What is her name? That is so going to bother me.
Dude, that's bad.
Yeah,
hold on. I'm looking it up now. Hold on. Ron Howard's daughter.
Yeah, like she has a name.
I'm so bad at
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Bryce. I was this close. I was like, I know it's what it be. Like, yeah, Bryce.
Shame you worked on her.
I know. What though? If I was, hey, look, you know what? It is. What
I remember the first time I saw her, I was like, holy damn, who was that? And it was like Ron Howard's daughter. Really? Wow. Anyway,
bro, she's a beautiful woman. Like she was so, and she was so down to earth though. Like it's one thing to have like the beauty. It's another thing to have like the cool energy and the mindset when you're so approachable. Like even when we got done, and she was like, "Yo, thank you for everything." Like I was like, "Hey, real quick, Bryce." I was like on Black Mirror. I was like that ending scene. I was like, "Yo, that's on my nosedive." I was like, "Did you guys improv that, or did you write, or was that written?" She was like, "That was written." I was like, "Get out." So we're having our moment. Like she was so talkative and so cool, and yeah, like she was definitely one of my favorites too. Like for sure. Hey, I can't remember.
Jamel, what's up, man? New Horizons. He put, yeah, she turned out to be insanely good. Yeah, she really is, man. She's
yeah.
I mean, once again, her dad's Ron Howard.
Yeah,
she better be.
She's so good. She's so good though. Like it's one thing to have like your parent who's like who you can call on and be like, yo, my dad is such and such. But to have talent, to have
and to be humble from what it sounds
like she can stand on her own. Like she doesn't need like her dad to co-sign. Like she can actually legit stand on her own. Like
I think they're going to give her own Star Wars movie.
Yeah, I mean she's really that good. Like I mean
the best episode so far it seems from The Mandalorian.
Yeah, like she's part of those. Like she's dope. She's one of my favorites for sure.
So Rob, you go ahead and answer. What would you say is one of your favorite directors?
I mean, I would have to say probably something like Spielberg or something like that. I'm not into directors. Like I was never into movie making as a thing. So that's not my bent. What I'm more interested in is stuff like is motion graphics and things like that. So that was more what I've always been interested in is the motion graphics side of things. So I don't really have a whole bunch of like favorite directors because I don't really think about directing.
I got my bunch for sure, but if I had to say one, just like I always look up to in a sense, granted, once again, it's a bunch, but I'll name two. Ridley Scott. One big reason I'm a huge Ridley Scott fan, and even his brother, is because they come from an all-around background. I mean, like they hustled. They was doing commercials. They was doing all kinds of stuff back in the day. Even this is like early, you know, before any of the stuff we got now, they were hustling and putting together little projects and everything else and trying to make it all work and so forth and getting paid for it. Like they had started their own little business before Hollywood and was making it happen before they even got in. And they came up the hard way doing commercials and a bunch of other stuff and working their way up. So I always give respect for that, especially old school with that, because I could imagine what they had to go through even way back then, trying to be freelance and start a business on your own, compared to now. Like now, you know, it's easy to buy a camera and everything. Could you imagine back then? Like cameras was like $100,000.
Yeah, you couldn't do that
back then. Before inflation. You know, so I always give respect for that, man. And he, you know, Ridley Scott's Ridley Scott, man. He's made
he's dope
all time.
He's up there.
Just like everybody else. And the second I give is always the Peebles, man. Mario Van Peebles, his father.
Oh wow!
You know I mean, some of the first black filmmakers coming up in that black exploitation era and making it happen with nothing. You know what I mean? Hollywood wouldn't look at them this before anything, and they made it happen to the point you wouldn't have a snowfall, you wouldn't have a lot of films going on right now, let alone just the black entertainment, you know, movement and everything we got, golden age we got going on, whatever you want to call it, Black Panther. They tried to make a Black Panther way back then. You know what I mean? So you wouldn't have a lot of stuff we have in black entertainment without the Peoples, man. So I always give them mad respect, man. Love Mario Van Peebles and all. And his pop died not too long ago and a few others. So always big shout out, man.
Yeah, that's a good.
One other thing I would say, this director-wise, because I'm more like on the animation side. That's what I'm interested in. So Miyazaki, Studio Ghibli stuff. I absolutely love the direction in the artwork in those type of things. So that's where my mind usually goes when we talk about direction and stuff like that. Whoever did Cowboy Bebop, that's another one that's a really huge influence on just kind of my style and the things that I see when it comes to direction. So that's my bent is more on the animation side of things.
You kind of can't love that kind of stuff without loving some directors and so forth.
That's true.
They got their inspiration from.
That's true.
Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
What is his name?
Miyazaki is a huge
Cowboy Bebop is Shinichiro Watanabe.
Is that okay? No,
a lot of his influences are based off of the old noir movies, the old 1940s and 50s and all that kind of stuff. That's how you get a Cowboy Bebop.
So yeah, it's definitely yeah. Oh, she so Lisa will not let us off the hook for answering this question here. She wants to know your favorite curse word.
I mean, Sam Jackson is my spirit animal, so yeah, that'd probably be you know Sam Jackson. We already know where it is.
There we go.
Matter of fact, that's funny because I remember I worked on a film and it was my first time playing a bank robber, and I got to improv the whole thing, and I hopped on top of the desk with the shotgun. I was like, and then they was like, cut. I was like, I'm so sorry. I did not mean, no, it's all good. I'm your bitch. It's all good. You're doing a great job. I really believe you. I was like, but I'll tap into the Sam Jackson in me. I was like, it was great. I loved it.
You were there,
the people who actually, because it was based off of live real events. So the people were actually robbing the banks. The dude came over and was like, yeah, man, that's how we used to do it. I was like, thank you.
All right, I'm gonna put in this for you. Since you're an action actor, who is your favorite action actor?
Yeah.
Aside from Keanu Reeves, I would say Daniel Bernhardt. He's man. Yeah, and the reason why is because he's the type of guy that you can literally put him anywhere, and he's gonna kill it. He's gonna kill it. Like I remember watching the first John Wick. I was like, dang, I didn't realize how much they used him in that. And I remember training with him a couple of times, and he's just got this.
Daniel Bernhardt, stunt.
He did like Bloodsport.
Yeah. He was Jean-Claude Van Damme stuntman for a while.
Yeah, like he's so dope.
So I met him and worked with him once, long time ago. So he's real good friends with my mentor, Rob. Good dude.
Yeah,
solid dude.
Man,
really nice guy, man. I met him when I was like 19, and this is 2001. I would say 2002. Before where he at now, he was just a stuntman.
Yeah,
super nice dude, man.
Yeah, he's so cool. Like, but yeah, I just love how he can do. I mean, he's worked on so many films, but he's the guy that you can put anywhere, and you're like, it's a sure thing. You're not gonna worry about him, and that's something I've strived for, is being the guy that you don't have to worry about. If anything, it's like, doesn't matter if he's this or that, he's gonna kill it. Like, put the camera.
How about you, Rob? Favorite action star?
Man, it's tough. Probably, I'd say Tony Jaa. His early stuff really inspired me. Like when his early stuff came out, it was just so different and so over the top at the time. I really liked his stuff. Like it's the crazy fight scenes, like going up, levels on levels and levels and buildings. Just the amount of stuff that he was doing was crazy to me. I really liked his stuff early on.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think my buddy Latif fought him, I think, Tony Jaa. Then they have like a big capoeira.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That was they were in the water and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember that. No, it was the one he did. It wasn't too long after Ong Bak.
Yeah, it was like
I remember that one. I forget the name of the Protector or something like that.
It was with the elephants. Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. He's super dope. He's another.
Guy's like a freak of nature.
Yeah, that dude. Some of the stuff that he does, like the performances that he does, like the jumping, like that dude can jump, like it's crazy.
Yeah.
So I can name a lot of action stars and all that over the years, but if I had to give, I just gotta give it. I gotta give it homage. Bruce.
Bruce
Lee. Because at the end of the day, like
he started it.
Modern day martial arts would not be anything. I mean, there's been so many documentaries, so many studies, so many everything. Like we wouldn't have so many things that we have in martial arts today. And I'm a huge Bruce Lee fan. Huge. A friend of mine has one of the largest memorabilia of Bruce Lee in the world. And yeah, man, Bruce is Bruce. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
Jet Li. If I had to say Jet Li in that case,
Jet's another one. I got to meet Jet once. I met Jackie a couple times. All those guys, amazing.
Yeah, the big ones, you know, the Jet Li's, the Jackie Chan's, the what's his name, Donnie Yen. Oh my gosh,
we can name for days, bro. and once again, I'm not saying like Bruce is better than them or fighting or any of that kind of stuff, but I'm saying he opened the door to be where everything is now. It wouldn't happen.
Yeah,
excuse me.
He changed. I mean, he changed the way martial arts were even filmed. You know, like they had to change their ability to shoot things just because of how fast he was. Like, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that right there, that's a huge thing too. Learning about the speed on which to perform, because something you do it too fast, like no one saw like what the hell you did. Like, which is why like jiu-jitsu for a minute was like, wait, what are they doing? What are we seeing? I know he did something. I know she moved, but I can't see it. So it's like to break that down where it's just enough, where it's like performance, but at the same time it's realistic enough. Like that's a fun place to be in, but it definitely takes time. That's another thing. Is like you have to work your timing. Like that's why it's good. This is a good tip for those who want to work on action. Do reenactment fights. Take fights that you've already seen and film those. The pace, learning how they shot it, how they did it, and get it to performance is your IQ goes up the more you do it.
Interesting. That's a good idea.
It's so different now, especially. It's kind of weird now. We're in a weird place when it comes to fight scenes that I never thought we would be in. Because I'm a kid that grew up, you know, old school Hong Kong, and then I got to be around it, which was like a whole weird thing. And even when I was around it, it was still not. It was just coming into the mainstream, right? So like when I first met Jackie was right after Rumble in the Bronx.
Okay.
Right? He had already filmed it 3 years before it came out. Right? So like he still wasn't that dude yet. You know what I'm saying? Let alone everything else that had to happen and so forth. Jet wasn't even mentioned in the States. So like a lot of that stuff was very, you know, and it's funny to I was such a fan and so into it and everything else and worked my butt off to become some of it and all that. And to see it now where it's a level where it's kind of old, man. I never thought that would happen. I never thought like new wave Hong Kong cinema. Kind of old school now. Weird. It is so weird. And now it's a new phase of things that have come in from what's the name from John Wick, stunt coordinators and directors that work on that.
There's a movie that I'm trying to think of. The dude was like kind of taken over by, he had like a robot or an android or something, like some AI inside of him, and he was that thing would take over and he could fight like really good when the AI took over.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I don't know the name of it. I cannot think of the name of the movie, but the way that they filmed those fight scenes was freaking. Did we lose sound?
I still
no.
I heard you.
Okay. The way that they filmed those fight scenes was like amazing, crazy as far as the fight scenes.
Yeah, I think once the Matrix came into play, I think that kind of just shifted the
changed everything.
It did.
Yeah, and then from there it was like you had 300, then you had and that was enough.
300.
that's another thing I strive for too, is finding out culturally what works for us, because everything isn't Hong Kong style. Like that's a different style of fighting altogether, you know. And so, but it has a place. So it's like, what does that look like for the stories that we tell? You know, is it all? You know what I'm saying? Like I look for like how the action is going to play there, just to see something different. Like, because we have like what 52 blocks. You have so many other martial arts that we have in our own arsenal, but you don't really see them. You know, so like that'd be kind of cool to start tapping into that stuff. Like, you know, as a performer, like what does that look like? How do you know?
Yeah, Jamel says it's the scene cuts now that take away from a lot of the I don't have the word, but it's not like watching an 80s Chan movie or Rocky or original Mortal Kombat. So I know what you're talking about right there, Jamel. So yeah, so Jamel's talking about a lot of the jump cuts, the Jason Bourne stuff, and that style of shooting, the Michael Bay type of
Michael
stuff.
Bay, the Transformers,
and so forth. So to explain that a little bit, that's because that happens when the actors don't know what they're doing. So they didn't train long enough, and you got to cut around it.
You got to fix
make it work.
You're fixing it in post.
And, I mean, sometimes it's because of the Jason Bourne thing, that got really popular. It did become a style for a little bit, but a lot of that style was because Matt Damon couldn't keep up with the stunt coordinators, so they had to try and make it work.
The shaky cam and all that.
Yeah.
But now I think, and that's another reason why, like, you have more actors now looking to do more of the work, because you want to show that you can do it. Like, they want to see the actor. They want to like you look at Tom Holland, the video of Tom Holland jumping and flipping and running off of this thing, and he's like, but that's all him. You know, so
exactly. Yeah, I think that was kind of the downside in a weird way of like Bourne movies, from the Matrix movies, and some of the other stuff with that, you know, from the old school Jackie Chan stuff and the old school Hong Kong cinema from the 90s and all. They did everything. They didn't have to cut because it was all them. So then the Matrix happened, and it was like, oh, we made, you know, normal Hollywood actors do this. But what you didn't know is these normal Hollywood actors trained for damn near a year to be able to pull off this stuff, and they did it over and over and over and over and over again. And Young Wu Ping's stunt team, and so they had it down, and then they made it look flawless. And then other movies tried to copy, but then they tried to do it in limited time. Well, the Matrix, then it's like, bro, you know,
Keanu did
that happen, man, and vice versa. You know, it turns into we gotta chop it down. And I think it's coming back. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, when you see people like Keanu, like his actual 3-gun, like when he goes out on a range and actually shoots, he knows what he's actually doing. Like, he's serious about it.
Well, the directors, you know, they're what's their name again? I'm sorry, from John Wick.
Chad Stahelski and David Leitch.
Exactly. They come from that world. You know what I'm saying? They come from the Hong Kong. They come from all that world. They know all of that stuff already. And they worked with Keanu before, so they knew Keanu knew what he was in for. They knew what they was doing, so they make it look easy. That's the thing. They make it look easy, and then other projects try and copy it, and that's where it goes downhill.
With the Keanu, because Chad talks about it in some podcasts where they're like, we're gonna teach you how to do this, because in the time it takes for him to load, reload, all that stuff, if that's good camera time. So it's like, if we teach you, that's one less thing we have to worry about. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, no, we want you to learn it. We want you to do it because we could spend, that's our money shot. They were smart with doing it that way. And then like, because I remember they were talking to like different productions about like spending time training the cast. You know, that is a thing. And not just training the cast, but also training, like having the camera, the team there as well. So it's like you can see it instead of just being on the day where you have that the DP with the ego, like, okay, I got it, I'll shoot it, and you're like, this is all to hell, you know. So like they were doing it because they needed to save money. So there's like that, and then it's like other people started following that model, and it's like, again, like, what does it take? You give someone 6 months to a year of training, it's going to be that much better when it comes time to film it. And then during that training session, you add in the camera team so they can see it too. And so they're working those muscles. Like, you have someone shoot the previds in this, so you already know what you're getting. That time is wasted when they had Halle Berry train with the dogs. They did such an extensive thing with her, so that when they had the
Which
dogs,
was friggin' awesome.
you know,
Ridiculous with the dogs.
ending the dogs. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what you want, though. Right. That's what you know what I'm saying. As opposed to you do a bunch of jump cuts. There's a time and place that like, you see a lot of
care about it. It real honestly, it's just care about it. Do you really want to take the time, and do you really care about it? And can you get everybody involved to care about it enough to take it seriously? Or are you trying to copy what other people are doing, and you're BSing it and you're running through it, and that's how you get these foolish in between action movies that are BS and they try and rip off and they suck and so forth. 355. Excuse me, I saw that out loud. They mean
what made 355 not a good film though? You know,
that's
like but you know, yeah, it's like, but again, you know, but the action, there was nothing wrong with the action. But why don't you believe the action? Because it's like, okay, here's a person pounds, and they're taking out a whole room full of people, and they're not beat up. And that's why speaking of directors, that's why I like Quentin Tarantino, because all his female heroes, they get beat down. Like you're ooh. So it's like when they turn the tide, and like if you ever watch Hateful Eight, that girl's taking all types of damage throughout that film, and at the very end you're like rooting for her for a minute because she's like, oh, you know, because she went through it. If you're not willing to and I noticed that too with a lot of actors, no one likes to look weak. Everyone wants to look like they're strong. I'm like, unless you're a superhero, that's not going to be the case. If I'm 6'2" and I hit you and you're 100 pounds,
yeah, you need to
matter.
It needs to look like you got hit. Yeah,
right. You have to be willing to take the hits. And most people in films, they don't like taking hits. Everyone wants to look cool.
Right.
You know?
Once again, the devil's in the details.
Right.
How much do you prep your actors? Do you prep the everything to go, look, we're making this look, whether it's real or even if you go fantasy with it. But the fantasy has to have some stability of the storyline to where it makes sense.
Yeah, like
when people start going goofy with it and just going, we're just going to copy what they did because that was successful. Then that's when it goes off the rails.
Like Hidden Tiger, the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. You know what I mean? They're tiny people, but there was a reason that they were so strong. You know what I mean? Like it made sense.
Right. That particular style of film, cinema. Like I said, when they're jumping on the trees, like if you never saw that before, and you're like, wait, hold on. How are they take a super serum? Like you have to understand the culture of the film too. You know, that's like there was more like an opera / play, like even how the movement of the trees, like everything was so, you know, saying so if you're prepared for that, you know, it's like you might not get it. You know, so it's a cultural thing too. It's like that's what I'm saying. Like when you talk about Hong Kong style, that is a specific style.
It is. It's funny because like what I noticed about movies in America when they have women fight, a lot of times it's not believable because they fight like men. So they're doing things that guys would do, and it doesn't quite make sense.
They translate over.
It does. It's not.
When you say guys, what do you mean? Like
when I'm going to put
a woman can beat up a dude and kick him out a window.
Right, putting power behind their butt.
Like 230 like pounds and something.
Generating force that they just couldn't possibly generate. But when you see the women in those other movies like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, they fight like women, but they look powerful. But it's different. It's a different type of thing. You know what I mean? Like it. I don't know. It's believable for a different reason because, like, I believe that she could beat me up, not because she's going to not because she's going to overpower me, but because she's better than me. You know what I mean?
Like her agility and her grace, she actually can overcome the power.
Right.
You know, there were some moments where that girl was going off on people. I was like, yo, there's no. But again, it's a culture,
and it's not that you can't show like the hardcore stuff, like Charlize Theron. She did a really good job on it. What was that movie? Neon. What was the name of that movie? Atomic Blonde, right? So like there were scenes where she was going at it, but then she would get the crap kicked out of her because a dude was way bigger than her, and then you saw how she had to overcome that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, that's what it's like. You know, and we can get into a lot of that between like the woke stuff and
but see that's the thing,
and a bunch of nonsense. And, you know.
But again, why did we believe that one, but we don't believe 355 because of the vulnerability?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
that little detail. Or like when you watch Birds of Prey, if there's no, if your heroes are all like doing kicks and like the person's doing like 380s and like, wait a minute, you know, Hong Kong spins and you're like, all they did was that. You know, again, it's
Exactly.
disconnect because you're like, well, one, this is an American film. So automatically, because it's an American film, we automatically want to see it or based in that realm.
Right.
So you won't buy if you saw Shirley Theron jumping on a tree, fighting with a sword. You're not gonna buy that. With the Green Dynasty, you're not gonna buy that.
Right.
It's like when Matt Damon did The Great Wall. No one bought that.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But if you're doing stuff in America, it's like you want to see the grit. But America really doesn't do grit. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't really show a woman getting beat like that. You don't really see that.
Right.
Why? Because like they can't accept it as much.
Right.
But
we don't want to. It's you know, we have this protection. You know, we just don't want to see it. You know what I mean?
Just don't. Yeah. But when you see like basketball, when you watch like a Quentin Tarantino film, you're like, ooh,
yeah,
ooh. When they did the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, man, when that dog went for that girl and she was like running around, I was like, ooh, I believe that.
Right.
I believe when
his setup though is long and drawn out and something that only Quentin could get away with. Because most directors, if you try to explain that to a studio, it's like what?
But you have to have the clout. Like Christopher Nolan can do whatever he wants. Quentin Tarantino can do whatever he wants. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it's like, again, you also, when you hear these directors, you're expecting that. I'm expecting some gruesome, really messed up, long-winded dialogue and some like a whole bunch of sounds where I can hear you open a Coke. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a Quentin Tarantino film.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So to change subject a little bit, and this is going back, Lisa got mad at us a little bit. Hope she's still here. Because he was like, I want to know more about him and so forth. And we actually had several people that actually asked you a little bit more about yourself, sir.
Yeah.
So I got Jamel here and Lisa. Jamel says, do you have aspirations to grow, like one day being a stuntman / extra, and next day you're the new Robert Pattinson? So meaning, I guess what he's trying to say is, you know, just kind of from where you're at now to where do you see yourself, the future you, where do you see all this going?
Hiring my friends to work on great films all over the world.
Nice. Yeah.
Have great, really cool stuff over the years, and I want to put them checks in my friends' pockets, and we just have fun, man. So yeah, I will be.
And Lisa asked, basically, if you weren't being an actor, what would you be doing?
Creating content still. I would still be in that, like whether in front or behind the camera. You literally can put me in a room, I'm gonna create. Like I'm been around it long enough where like I can play. Just give me a camera.
You you're a good photographer as well. Like I just saw you posted some stuff recently that was really it was like really dope. Photography wise. Yeah.
Thank you. Again, that goes to attest to like the people around me. You know, Veronica's a great person. Shout out to her. You know, I've been blessed to be around dope, creative people. So it's like I just had to embrace. And it's funny, like growing up, I didn't realize how much watching movies played into how I frame up everything now. You know what I'm saying? It was like I already knew early on that I was going to play in the space of film and television, for music, all of that, because of just what was around me. It's kind of like these kids who are born into wealth or they're born into the know, like that stunt, you like Ron Howard's family, like, you know what I'm saying? Like she was born into that. You know, she was, you know, so it's like, it makes sense that you would go into directing. It would make sense you would go into film. It would make sense you would go into that space because you've seen it. You already know it. And so that's the same thing for me. So like when I picked up a camera, the way I was doing my photography at first, I literally was looking through the screen on my L7D, and my ex would be like, why are you looking at it like that? I was like, yo, I had to see it like a movie. I was like, I got to watch it like this. This is how I capture it. And that was just my way. So I knew, you know, from photography to video, like as long as I can capture it and be in that space, like I knew I was going to get something great. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like, yeah, like she played. Like she's like, I don't want to do my hair down anymore. I want to do buns. Okay, let's do buns. Let's play. You know, what's going to bring it out of you? That's all I want. You know, I want to create with people. I want to flow with people. I want people that will push me creatively. You know, it's like, or like when I get in that space, I'm like, when we got there, we had just got there. Didn't know where I was gonna put her, nothing. I was just like, yo, we're gonna play here. Boom, 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 boom. We're gonna get on. We only need 50 shots here. Boom, 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 boom. Do this. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, I'm editing on my phone, bro. I mean, I remember when I was doing editing on Photoshop, Premiere, all those things, and like just within a 5-year span, so much you can do on your phone now. So it's like really, there's no excuse to not create. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, these kids nowadays, you know what they're doing with TikTok and stuff like that, just all on their phone is incredibly impressive.
Huge. It's a marketing smorgasbord of awesomeness. Like you can literally find anything and everything on TikTok, and then be like, you know what? I want that person. They understand their brands. That's what it is. It's like hours and hours and hours of knowing your craft. You know, like I've seen your guys' work. You know, that's hours and hours and years of time that you, like you said, I've worked on my craft.
Mm-hmm.
Now people want to see the process. Like you said, like I don't have all the answers. Another good tip: I record as much as I can. The fact when I work with someone or train, if I can get permission to film what I'm seeing, record what I'm hearing, I do it, because when you're in it, your brain is in so much of this and that. You don't get to take all that home. It's hard to remember all of that unless you're able to drill it and work it repeatedly. If you don't get that opportunity, it's like, I only have today. Hey man, is it cool if I film this? You know, because I need to look at this later. You know, because you know, like that camera has opened so many doors for me, like filming for other people, and it's like I love it because it allows me to learn. You know, I'm not stagnant. You know, I love engaging with people. It helps you with people skills. It helps you learn on the fly. Like if you don't have it, like let's say like the camera mess up. We've all had this, right? We're about to film. And you're like, what the hell's going on with the camera? Why's the camera doing this? You can't let the person know in front of you that you don't know what's going on. You got to play it. Okay, all right. This is good. It's good. Yeah. Take a couple shots. Okay, cut this off. Cut battery back in. You do everything and anything. You know, it's like it teaches you leadership skills. It teaches you how to adapt, how to be like water. You like Bruce Lee? This is your moment, right? Like you have to be able to flow. You know, you got to really put yourself in those positions too, and that's why I love that you can do that now. You don't have to wait. You can literally get started today. Like when I get done talking to y'all, I'm gonna go look at this scene that I shot in my garage so I can see, do I like the pace? Do I like what I was doing? Where's my ticks? Where do I need to fix it? You know what I'm saying? Like that's where we're at.
That's dope. So we got a couple more off the cuff questions from Lisa. The first one she asked, hold on, where was it? She asked, what is your least favorite profession and why? She wants to know.
Least favorite profession. You know what? That's a hard one to say, because I think luckily for me, it was always about my mindset. I always, you know, even when it's something I didn't like, I have someone be like, "Yo, well, work unto God, not unto the man." So it's like, ooh, when you hear stuff like that, you're like, But I guess I would have to say when I worked at the warehouse, it was like they had these pallets, and they're like, you had to open up the pallets at 4 a.m. and organize everything. That wasn't my bag. That was not my bag. I think I lasted 2 weeks. That was probably my least favorite one, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Joe, did you see the question that Joe asked?
Yeah, it's not like he said it way back. And we were just talking. So Joe Baker asked, in the photography world, there is TFD. I think he means TFP, trade for pay. What is the equivalent in the acting world? Did you do that in the beginning of your career, and do you still do it now since you are more established? I don't know if you know what TFP means for those of you out there. TFP means trade for pay, meaning that a lot of photographers tend to shoot whatever models, for instance, and so forth, or bring people in to do whatever project, directors too, whoever. And it's like, hey, we're all going to work together. We're all going to do something. We don't have necessarily a budget or the money to pay for everything. But in return, everybody's going to get out the same of what we did. You're going to get the footage. You're going to be able to market yourself, whatever. We're all going to work together and create something, and then we're all going to put it out.
Right.
So,
or time
like, what is that in the acting world?
Yeah, I would say like film scenes. Like, I mean, when they do like the pay deferred projects, yeah, there is that. Again, because like you might have a project, but you might not be able to pay someone. I've done that where I produced and put together a project. They didn't get paid, but everyone ate. Like, and they didn't eat pizza. They didn't eat Subway. Like, I went and made sure the Cre8tive was popping. Like, I spent $3,500 on the food. Like, but everyone ate. Yeah, there's definitely that. They do the deferred stuff. They do the short films, and they call in favors. Hey, can you come in and do this thing? And you'll get your footage. And it's a slippery slope, because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Again, if you're cool with waiting on someone to give you footage, then it's definitely you don't know how they're going to cut it. You don't know how, unless you talk about those things ahead of time, where you kind of have it like that, where you can say, hey, look, can I have access to the footage? Can I at least get my scene? It's a conversation. And it's funny because sometimes, again, it's about knowing your business, because there's an entertainment side and there's the business side. Like, yeah, I'm gonna do this thing for free, but when am I gonna get the footage? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna do this thing for free, but what are they shooting on?
Same problem photographers at.
Right, you know what I'm saying? Like, right, exactly. You know what I'm saying? If you don't ask those questions, I ask my friends so many times, like, yo, what are you shooting on? They don't know. They have no idea.
I'll add to that a little bit and say that for Cre8tive Pit, I guess you could say technically everyone still starts off that way. Mm-hmm. So as an actor, as a director, as a cinematographer, whatever, at some point everybody's doing something for free, right? Everybody's starting off creating something, doing something, so forth, especially in college and whatever, to create whatever we're trying to create to hopefully get further, right? Which a lot of times, sometimes it ends up being practice, doesn't go anywhere, but we all end up doing that on some level, right? So it really doesn't matter what creative you are. I don't care if you're in music. I don't care if you're in whatever, acting, film, photography, whatever. Everybody ends up at some point doing, I always say this is the only, creatives is the only field where we do stuff for nothing.
For free.
Something, you know what I mean? It just is what it is. So I would say across the board, we all do that.
You gotta know what and when you do it, you got to make sure that like what you're getting out of it. Be honest. Like, if you're gonna get content, is it gonna be good content? Mm-hmm. With yourself, am I doing this for practice? Am I doing this to build my confidence? Like, what is this for? Because I still do free stuff for people now, but it has to make sense. Like, hey, why am I in here filming? Well, hey, this person wants to train me, but they need content. Okay, that's a cool swap. And I control the edit. I do what I do. I don't have to worry about nothing. Like, I set those parameters ahead of time, because again, this is your time. I may not be getting paid, but how's your time being spent? Is this going to help you down the road? Is this choice right here today going to help you down the road? Because if it's not, then you might want to look at that, because again, you can't get your time back. You know what I'm saying? And so like, that's the biggest thing I always look at too. Yeah,
it's transparency. I think just everybody's got to be transparent in the exchange and whatever's happening. And I even understand sometimes it doesn't always go according to plan. Yeah. I mean, I've been in part of so many shoestring, and that's another word for it, I think, especially in the film world, shoestring budget. Shoestring budget usually means you don't got no budget, right? Whatever. Right. I've been in so many of those over the years, and it's just the people that fail at it or doesn't go anywhere, or backfires on them really bad, are the people who are not transparent. They tend to be overreaching, or let me not even overreaching. They're a very bad hype man. They hype stuff up and get everybody hyped up. They're good actors in their own sets of making people believe it's more than what it really is, when they should have been a little bit more honest and yada yada yada. So those are kind of some of the things that you should avoid, no matter what field you're in. I've experienced that on every field.
That's a hard one too, because you can't tell what's BS from the real, because
and sometimes people have the greatest intentions. Honestly,
yeah,
I've even seen where like people are hyping it up because they really believe. You know what I mean? But they really don't realize like you are out of your depth. You know what I mean? And I've been there. I've been there myself, so I completely understand. Yeah, that's kind of what TFP is. As far as it really is no different. The same TFP, honestly, how it goes for like a photographer to a model, which is the exchange we're used to in this field.
Right.
It really is the same as an actor to director, right, or whatever. It really is the same.
Then at the end.
So yeah, man. So we've been on for a minute, so we're gonna try and wrap this up a little bit. So Gene, if we could, I'd like to ask you, bro. Once again, thank you so much for coming on, bro.
Thanks.
You gave a lot of information. Yeah, I mean, you went in, bro. We really appreciate it, man. This was an awesome conversation. Thank you for everybody that tuned in. Jamel, New Horizons, Joe Baker, Lisa, thank you so much for tuning in. We apologize. We missed a few of your questions, but we got in there, hopefully. We missed here. Who else tuned in? Jaren, I still can't pronounce your full name, bro. It's the Barden de la Bedin. Am I saying that right?
I don't even see it. I'm like, I'm gonna take your word for it.
Oh, Jaren DeBar. Yeah, it's just go with DeBar, man. That's my guy. He's
in. Dastain, same. Nixon, Julian. Hey, Julian, thanks for tuning in. Julian's actually getting ready to take some courses with me and learn some composite art and how to do movie posts.
There you go.
That kind of stuff. Thank you everybody for tuning in, man. Gene, once again, thank you for taking the time, bro. You know what I mean? I'm sure you got a busy schedule, bro. So thank you so much for taking the time. And kind of sounding out. Last thing I'll ask you, bro. I know we asked you kind of what's going on in future plans and so forth. I don't want to ask your age and all that, but just kind of the next, I would say, like 5 years. Like where should we be looking for Gene? Where do you think Gene is going to be and all that good stuff?
Billboard, you'll see me.
Sounds about right.
You'll see me
doing the big movies, man. I understand.
Yeah, I'm like, you're gonna see me. Billboards. I mean, I'm definitely gonna be creating some really cool stuff by that time. I should have, if nothing, at least my 5th film by that time. So that I produced and direct, or whether I'm co-directing or writing or whatever. So yeah, I'm creating a nice cinematic universe, and I'm excited to put it together. And so yeah, that's what I'll be working on within that time frame.
Nice. And for people who want to find you, what are the best places to find you and get in contact?
In your hearts. No. You can find me on Instagram. That's probably the best place. GENE_FREEMAN.
Nice.
That's the best way. Like if you DM me or whatever, if I can get back to you, I try. You know, it's a lot of people on there, so you know, I try not to be in the matrix too long.
Yeah.
I feel you, bro. Hey, man, most definitely all the respect and all the admiration, man. Definitely. I think you're gonna be just fine, brother. I think you're just gonna be checking for you, man.
Yeah.
Congrats with everything and all the success that you've had so far. I guarantee, I know you're gonna have more, man. We're gonna be checking for you. All we ask, you know what I'm saying? We just a little podcast here. Little guys on the way up, you know what I'm saying? When you get that big whatever, you know what I mean? We still want that interview. You know what I mean?
Facts.
When you see we don't ask the normal questions, we're gonna be like, yo, brother, what's going on with that? How does clap? Did you hear it? How'd it go?
My man.
Let's go. Thank you guys so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for having us, man. For sure.
Yep.
And everybody for tuning in. Thank you so much, man. Joe, we'll add his IG in the comments.
I'm about to add it too,
for sure. And yeah, guys, another Cre8tive Pit. We are out. Myself, your boy John Douglas Chapman, Mr.
Graphite, Robert Waters, what's happening?
And Mr.
Gene Freeman, aka the beast you can't put in the box.
Let's get it.
Appreciate you guys, man. And we're out.
Facts. Peace.